bring the band in. Woo! Well, alright. Yeah, they want me to fit in, but I can't. I'm too different with it. Too advanced to think, you know my intuition. I got bars and ink, but never in a prison. Too far gone, never gonna sit and listen. This is optimism mixed with the best, you get it. What you're seeing is a beast in the flesh, I'm vetted. I don't need to try, speak for the rest. Always keep it abrupt, they wanna keep it a mess, you know. This is what you get when you're sitting as a vet. But everybody know that you're a threat. With the rest, let's go. We won't fit in your box. We don't quit, we won't stop. Ride us all to the top. We won't fit in your, we won't fit in your, we won't fit in your box. No, we don't quit, we won't stop. No, ride us all to the top. Whoa. We won't fit in your box. No. Look, I try to tell you we don't fit in your box. Why you try to box me in? I got the key to unlock. I know the locksmith, optics. Speak of the loss, I'm eating lobster, chopsticks, freaking the boss, you know. I'll never fit in where I go at. Ooh, boss talk like I'm Boaz. Ooh, why fit in when you know you can stand out still? They remember you more when you hand out deals. Let's go. We won't fit in your box. We don't quit, we won't stop. Ride us all to the top. We won't fit in your, we won't fit in your, we won't fit in your box. No, we don't quit, we won't stop. No, ride us all to the top. Whoa. We won't fit in your box. No. Don't box me in. I do my own thing. Spirit is right within. I got my own way. Father is not within. Look at the way that I do my ops again. Oh, better let me loose. You know that I got the juice. Everything I got to do. Words that I speak out my mouth, I gotta move. Oh, we can't fit in your box. We too cold to get low. We won't fit in your box. We don't quit, we won't stop. Ride us all to the top. We won't fit in your, we won't fit in your, we won't fit in your box. No, we don't quit, we won't stop. No, ride us all to the top. Whoa. We won't fit in your box. No. Thank you, Ben, for coming out tonight. My name is Son of Augustine. Let's go. Bring the band in. Woo. Well, alright. Yeah, they want me to fit in, but I can't. I'm too different with it. Too advanced to think. You know my intuition. I got bars and ink, but never in a prison. Too far gone, never gonna sit and listen. This is optimism mixed with the best. You get it? What you're seeing is a beast in the flesh. I'm vetted up. I don't need to try to speak for the rest. Always keep it abrupt. They wanna keep it a mess, you know. This is what you get when you're sitting as a vet. But everybody know that you're a threat. With the rest, let's go. We won't fit in a box. We don't quit, we won't stop. Ride us all to the top. We won't fit in your, we won't fit in your, we won't fit in your box. No, we don't quit, we won't stop. No, ride us all to the top. Whoa. We won't fit in your box. No. Look, I try to tell you we don't fit in your box. Why you try to box me in? I got the key to unlock. I know the locksmith, optics, speak of the lots. I'm eating lobster, chopsticks, freaking the boss. You know, I'll never fit in where I go at. Boss talk like I'm Boaz. Why fit in when you know you can stand out still? They remember you more when you hand out deals. Let's go. We won't fit in your box. We don't quit, we won't stop. Ride us all to the top. We won't fit in your, we won't fit in your, we won't fit in your box. No, we don't quit, we won't stop. No, ride us all to the top. Whoa. We won't fit in your box. No. Don't box me in. I do my own thing. Spirit is right within. I got my own way. Rather is not within. Look at the way that I do my ops again. Oh, better let me loose. You know that I got the juice. Everything I got to do. Words that I speak out my mouth, I gotta move. Oh, oh, we can't fit in your box. We're too cold and you know. We won't fit in your box. We don't quit, we won't stop. Ride us all to the top. We won't fit in your, we won't fit in your, we won't fit in your box. No, we don't quit, we won't stop. No, ride us all to the top. Whoa. We won't fit in your.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the last day of the last chance right here in PMCO EU. Of course, it is going to be a very, very exciting day. We've already seen the teams just grinding so excessively over the previous 2 days. I mean, we saw a beautiful few upsets come through. God's Ultimate coming through with a beautiful clutch that we saw in, over on Sanok yesterday. So amazing gameplay, and very excited to see what today is going to bring. Of course, I'm joined by Max. Max, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling fantastic. I mean, I have to echo your sentiment here, GK, mainly focusing on that God's Ultimate. Steelder was amazing, and we also had a great Kazama finish yesterday on match number 4. So can't wait for today. We're going to have some great games to unfold. That is for sure. Hell yeah.
Oh, yes. And we'd love to hear our viewers' thoughts, so be sure to hit us up on social media. Share what you think of what these teams have been bringing to the battlefield. I mean, we've been seeing some insane clutch up. Even yesterday, Team Alpi trying their best, right? They got themselves that winner chicken dinner back in game number 2. And in fact, that was, I'd probably say, the fattest chicken that we've had for the day, right? A 14 elimination victory. So some glorious performances that we've had there. And also, Team Kazama, right, Max, they just kept up that consistency. They got the chicken on the last match of day 1. They got the chicken again on the last match of day 2. I'm really curious to see what these teams are going to be bringing out.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a very important day because we have to set the storyline straight here, DK, from the get-go. Today is the last opportunity for these teams to impact their rankings in hopes of making it to top 8. And of course, if you are top 8 at the end of these next 4 matches, you advance into the grand finals of PMCO 2023 Europe, which what happens after that, we don't really know. We just know that you make it further into the ecosystem. What's the next event you're going to qualify for? Is it a PMEC or something similar? We just don't know. One thing I can tell you for sure, you want to be as high as you possibly can be in the grand finals. But right now, it's top 8 for the last chance. And right now, it is very close to that limit. So a lot of teams at the bottom are going to give it their all to overtake that top 8 spot.
Yeah, and of course, for those of you who missed out on the first 2 days, just a quick look at our format here. We have 16/13 teams participating, and they are going to be playing the remainder of their 12 matches here to get themselves into those grand finals. And of course, well, we have the grand finals also there that's going to be coming up for the PMCO EMEA as well as the NA side. But as we know, the best way to get yourself into the grand finals is through utilizing everything available in this point system.
Yeah, I mean, of course, one team that knows that one elimination equal 1 point down to a T, DK, down to a bloody T. It is Team Rush. 18 points so far total, currently still standing in first place, but they have a whopping 53 eliminations. Those guys are absolutely bonkers on their side of things. Sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, DK, they gotta chill out, okay? Sometimes they're a bit too much, but I would like to see Rush make it to the late game so they can get also those 10 placement points for that win, because they have the fragging power to back up a play like that. It's just they lose players very early, and you know that the earlier you lose players, the tougher it's going to be to get those wins.
Yeah, and of course, well, speaking about points, we did talk about the 53 coming through for Rush. Let's take a look at the overalls and see exactly what that point situation is, where the teams find themselves. So as we know, you want to be on this page, right? Because this is the page that is going to be moving forward into the next stage, which of course is those grand finals. And there we can see it, 53 eliminations coming through for Rush. But I got to say though, Team Kazama also a very aggressive team right there alongside Big Baby.
Yeah, I mean, Team Kazama has been competing very closely. They are tied in that second and third place. And don't forget that there's not going to be any prize pool differences for this. They're all going to get, I think it's $240 regardless. So that's not the focus. The focus is, as you said here, DK, to be on that top 8 page. And currently, the cutoff point is DXAFG with those 40 points, and Achomi Brave is going to be the ones currently below that limit with 32. That's 8 points, DK. That's one decent game. They can catch up. I would say pretty much any team, not even pretty much, is every team literally on this page, even a Void, can catch up and get into the top 8. It's just going to require a little bit more effort and consistency throughout the day if they want to reach it. But I believe that we're going to see some of those bottom teams, like Epsilon Axe, that I think had some good moves, hopefully rise up in that top 8.
I mean, it's also quite comforting to look, as we just saw on the rankings there. Chomi, looking at where they find themselves and how their point breakdown is. If you compare that to what we see come through from Avoid, they have exactly the same amount of placement points. The only difference is Chomi, they've been able to secure themselves double the amount of eliminations as what Avoid has been able to secure. So it shows you that there is that capability that could come through, and it's all going to come down to what these teams will be bringing into our 4 matches here for today. Of course, as we know, we have that lovely Erangel sandwich that is going to be happening as well. And here we have it. Is going to be a little bit of Murmur and Sanok just squeezed in between all the Erangels.
I hate to have to refer it to it as a sandwich each time because I haven't eaten today yet. I got some food, but I was too late, so I couldn't eat it. But yeah, this sandwich, you know what? That'll be enough substance for me today, DK. That'll be enough because they are going to give us some good food. They are cooking today, that's for sure, what is going to be happening on these maps. So as you said, double Wrangle, 1 Miramar, and 1 Sanok. And I want to see that Sanok madness go down once again because, to reiterate your point you made earlier on the pre-show, that steal from God's Ultimate was fantastic. My favorite game by far that day and throughout the entirety of this PMCO this year so far. And we had some great moments from them. So God's Ultimate currently in 6th position with 50 points. Clearly looking like a very heavy contender heading into the grand finals. But sure, making it to the grand finals is important, but we got also some big hitters there. So we need to see those teams keep this momentum going if they do reach that next stage.
Yeah, I think today is going to be a big day where the teams need to focus a little bit more on the momentum and maintaining that momentum all the way through. And I think especially trying to build off of the amazing plays that they were able to bring into day number 2. But then, of course, looking at a few other teams that had a good run on day 1, but not necessarily having the same kind of results moving into day 2. I want to see that bounce back. I want to see them just, engaging a little bit of the NOS and potentially, hopefully, catapult themselves even further up the leaderboard.
Yeah. Are there any teams in particular you would see on top of that? Do you would like to see catch up? Because I'm the ones I mean, you got so many names that are interesting. Like you want to see DX qualify, Achomi
Yeah.
qualify, Epsilon Axe, Firestorm has been interesting. Imperial's family had some interesting approaches.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunately it's esports. Not all teams can make it. So if I had to focus on one, I already said Epsilon Axe is one that I'm looking at. But how about you?
I would say I would go for Imperial's family. I mean, seeing that we had them with a winner-winner chicken dinner at the start of yesterday, I want to see them potentially try and build on top of that. As we know, as they progress into the remaining matches, things didn't exactly go according to plan, but I want to see them now regroup, re-strategize, and bring through a strong representation here.
There you go. We got ourselves our prediction. Of course, hopefully I'm not going to curse them. I cross my fingers. Hopefully that won't be the case. But yeah, it is going to be down to the wire for these guys. I don't know if you would agree with this, DK, but I think because of the small amount of games we have for the last chance, I think it's going to be down to the last game to see who's going to be able to overtake that bottom 8 position in the rankings. It's going to be that close, and we're going to be starting off the festivities right here, right now, with our first match of the day. It's good old grassy pastures over to Erangel.
Ooh, yeah, pretty excited to see where these teams are gonna get themselves situated. Not the craziest flight path to come through does prevent the teams, or rather provide them with rather good access to a big majority of the regions. I mean, obviously positions over towards the eastern side is gonna be a little bit tougher to get themselves into right from the plane. But there's nothing wrong with a quick stop over with a vehicle, right? Hop in the vehicle,
Yeah.
boom, off you go, and you can get yourself to wherever you need to be situated. But I think the important part here is to see exactly what the pacing for today is going to be, right? Great opportunity for the teams now to set the standard and potentially even the bar as to what is yet to come for the remainder of the day.
Yeah, I think that we did already see some changes happening between day 1, day 2. Some teams have understood, okay, we got to send everything we have, need to start to be a little bit more aggressive. And I think, DK, we're going to see a lot of more of that today because for some of these guys, this is their last opportunity to make it into PUBG Mobile Esports. We don't have these kind of tournaments like PMCO happen that often, actually just once throughout the year. So this is the time for the new kind of Boruto-style generation, the new generation of PUBG Mobile Esport pros to rise up to the occasion. And, well, if you're on the bottom of the rankings, we talked about it, Akomi Brave, Epsilon Axe, Firestorm, Imperial's Family, or Avoid, you've got to send everything you have in your arsenal in just the hopes of making it to the grand finals of this year's PMCO. With that said, we saw the plane path over to the west. DK, it's an eastern circle, not the best way to kick off day 3 here.
Yeah, a little bit of a near spanner in the works, not exactly, but I think this is also a great opportunity for the teams now to get themselves looted up and then focus on positioning. So I think there is some kind of a benefit to this. The teams will have the opportunity to ensure that they can assess the zone. Ooh!
No, what's going on? Oh, you got it. Wait, he jumped in the car. What is this mess going on? But Kazama, unfortunately, they're going to have a rough time over here. T-Pest. Wait, T-Pest is also in the mix. They were the same color. Oh my god, I'm getting all confused. But Kazama not even going to get the res, and Team Pest, 2 easy eliminations confirmed with a handgun in the head.
Wow.
He's done. He's done it. Oh my god.
I mean, I think it's safe to say that T-Pest, they came in, they decided, you know what, today we got to go for aggression, and they're really gunning for it. But I mean, what a start! What a start, though!
They're coming back. They want more. They want to finish the fight. DX, calm down. What are they on about? Oh, my word. Okay, I don't know what they had for breakfast, but these guys are on fire already wanting to get those eliminations. But yeah, T-Pest, get in the car and get the hell out of here. It's not worth fighting for it. You're currently in 4th position. Your position's not safe. You need to get at least one more good game if you want to make it to the grand finals.
I mean, I think this is absolutely phenomenal for DX, though, because, you know, they are defending that 8th position, so there is going to be quite a bit of pressure on them. And, of course, if they choose aggression or violence, right, that could be a very good way to help solidify their positioning.
Violence, speed, momentum. Things that T-Pest, DX, and Kazama chose, but unfortunately for Kazama, they took just a massive L to kick off the day. They started off in 2nd place, ADK, so it's not an issue. It is, though, an issue for DX, because let's not forget, entering into today, DX AFG were in 8th position, only 8 points ahead of Achomi Brave. So for Achomi Brave, they're looking at this. They're like, this is fantastic. This is the perfect setup for us to have a great day 3 to leap forward into the grand finals. So they're going to hope to overtake their position because they already lost players. They are going to struggle to go for a podium finish this match.
Yeah, it is going to be a tough one if they are not able to kind of pull themselves back together. But then on the other side, we've got the Imperial's family. I mean, all the way on the opposite end of the pond. A very wide spread, but I think there's nothing really wrong with that, at least at this stage of the game. And also looking at the fact that there's no one really there to contest them. Yes, we do have Ultra from the side of Avoid. Also now just trying to see what this lovely island can bring on through. But Pablo and their teammates definitely need to keep their awareness about them. Otherwise, I mean, this could be a golden opportunity for Avoid also to secure themselves a few cheeky eliminations.
I'd even go to say an ultimate golden opportunity, DK. Okay, so no. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a great opportunity for them. We'll see if they can strike while the iron is hot. Though I'm looking at this phase on circle already. We have some strong compounds that stand out to me. DK. I'm looking at the compounds west, southwest, more specifically of Shelter or northeast of Farm. Those are really good compounds surrounded by a lot of open terrain. You've got the Road 2, which gives you extra bunch of visibility. It's not great when it comes to hiding cars, though. That's a bit of an issue, unless you put them like in the garage itself, then you can actually hide them. So I would like to see teams go for those spots. Maybe Vengeance is going to go there. Maybe Epsilon, Axe, or DX will go there. I think that would be a good opportunity. Unfortunately, it didn't seem like too many players of Imperial's family will be able to make it, as 2 players are knocked currently in the water. We know that Rez is not going to come out unless we see the biggest rescue mission we've ever seen. That's 2 eliminations for Void.
Yeah, I think a rescue mission could also be quite exciting. Not quite sure what that would look like, but you know, we'll take it.
Do you make fun of me right there? Rescue. Hey, words are complicated, okay? Leave me alone.
I know. I get you. I get you. I mean, you know, sometimes we're just running a little bit low on airtime, so you just gotta try and top it up by somehow. How? I would love to know.
I don't know. Just leave me on my lisp alone, okay? It happens sometimes. Yeah. But Imperial's family gonna have to leave the 2 other players to run away over to the east of Sunnovka Island. So that's gonna be their game plan currently. Otherwise, teams seems to be a little bit slow on their rotation compared to yesterday. We had some better circles yesterday, but seemed like teams are not willing to speed up the whole process. I'm looking at George Bowl in particular. We're seeing Rush, actually great transition. They are currently a little bit slow on the transition. Maybe just finishing up their looting stage, picking up every little piece of loot they can get. They already got a ton of utility like that. You got 5 nades, 6 smokes. Really good in this type of circle. You're going to need them to go for those big open compound breaches. So seems like they're going to be geared up for those incoming fights. And same for Akomi. Our northern George Pole, slowly going to be going for their own northern rotation into the northern part of the circle. So seem like teams taking just a little bit more time to set up their overall game plan, which, you know what? That's fine. It's phase 1. You can take a little bit of blue zone damage. That is a-okay.
Yeah, and I'm quite interested to see exactly what play will be from our teams over on towards the western sides, right? As we know, Big Baby all the way on that far side, they had a pretty successful start to their first day. Second day also coming through, we did see them secure at least 11 eliminations right on Erangel. So there is still quite a bit of movement that needs to come through for the teams to get themselves situated. But I think this is a golden opportunity for a team like Epsilon Axe here that we have already now in full possession essentially of Milta.
Yeah, it's going to be a possible strong positions if the circle is going to their advantage. A position like Milta going their phase 1. It's very reliant on circle luck afterwards. So Epsilon, sure, if the circle goes their way and they set up a really strong fort location, they could win the entire thing. But it's just very early to tell. So right now, they're just safe for phase 1. They should be safe for phase 2. Onwards and onwards, not too sure. So I'm just waiting to see if the circle does not go their way, how are they going to initiate their rotation? Are they just going to gun for central spot? Are they going to go for wide wrap? We'll have to see based on where phase 2 goes. Though, I am seeing DX go for one of the compounds I mentioned, east of Farm, south of Shelter, which right now could reward them with a really long amount of survival time because they lost players already, DK. So going for a central spot as a 2-man, maybe not the worst strat in the book, but this is one of the worst circle shifts in the book. That sucks. That's horrible. Wow. Okay.
I think Vengeance are going to be happy with their current location, though. I mean, this is a good setup. I'm curious, though, that compound just north of where God's Ultimate are right now. I know there's a name for it, but I keep on forgetting what it is. It's the compound up atop the hill. A lot of times you see players
Heaven.
Flying over it. Heaven. There we go.
Yes.
There
It
we
is
go.
called Heaven because it touches the skies. That's why.
Yes.
Yeah, we got some interesting names for some of the compounds. Some compounds are just called Yellows, a bit boring, or Cube. And then you got Heaven. That's cool. That's sick.
Yeah.
You want to breach that compound. You want to call it home.
Yes.
Yeah. What if you could call it? Hey, if you could give a name to any compound on the map that's unnamed right now on Erangel, what would it be? And what name would you give it?
Ooh, that is a very good question.
Ah,
Yeah, you just stumped me with that one, if I'm being honest here. Yeah, nothing really comes to mind right at this particular point in time. I mean, yeah, I'm blanking out.
he's
Like,
done. He's done.
yeah, you
I'm
got
going to
me.
tell you one. I'm going to tell you one that I would go for. Over to the western side of Gatka, you've got a compound that's surrounded by roads and it's a little bit elevated.
Mm.
That compound, if you know exactly the one I'm referring to, on that little squiggly road, I call it God Compound, just because it's
Ooh.
so damn OP. It's really powerful. So if I could officially give a name to a compound, that
Yeah.
would be the one. That's
Mm.
a cool name. Like, don't tell me you would not want to drop in God, like in God Compound.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I would. It sounds heavenly.
yeah,
So,
it does. That's what I'm talking about.
yeah, and I mean, if we had God's ultimate in that compound, just imagine.
That would be. Just qualify them to PMGC already. No, it's just too good. It's too powerful of a branding move.
Yeah.
You have to get them in PMGC. But they go for this compound here, Vengeance, which I'm not the biggest fan of this position. Reason why, it does have some weak points, especially the north/eastern side. It can be a bit troublesome. You got some high grounds that are hard to really deal with efficiently. So because of that, not a massive fan. It is good because it's central, so if you have some decent circle shifts, it's good. It's just not the easiest to defend in my eyes. So I played a game here just a few days ago with Jason Kaplan. It's a really fun match, and we died to a team that was right up there. So it's just, if a team is coming north, like God's Ultimate could be up there, Firestorm, DX could be up there, even though they don't have the full squad to do it. Vengeance might have a bit of a tough task at hand. So good right now to defend later on. Could be a bit rough on their hands.
Yeah, I think the setup coming through for Firestorm though, the compound they find themselves in, I think that could also be an interesting one to play off of, because as we know, there is a little bit of that hill coverage coming through on the eastern side, so that could provide a little bit of a potential buffer if they could get themselves situated in that, especially looking at where we have the rest of our teams now situated. But Rush also about to start bumping a few heads over on towards the Chomi as the zone centers up on Lipovka. I mean, Max, this is a crazy shift.
DX are loving it, okay? They are loving it big time. They're just going to chill as a two-man on the eastern edge of Lipovka and just wait it out and see how things go, though. Chomi also going to have their very own encounter against Rush. Not a team you want to fight, but seems like they got the advantage initially. Matana, first of all, first to be confirmed. And Chomi up to their 1 point, which we said it. This is a very important game for them, as DX had a tough start. This could be the game that pushes them up in the top 8.
Yeah, but I don't think DX are going to be smarting at right now. As you can see, an absolute influx of teams now just descending down upon their position. But a good spray, good play coming through here from the side of Achomi. I mean, they also got in with a bit of a defensive angle, but now it seems like they are going to be looking to just disengage and get themselves rather situated a little bit more securely. Now, it's going to be a Void looking to contest alongside Vengeance.
An early fight happening over here in Lipovka. Very interesting. Didn't think there'd be that hard of a central commit, but seems like teams want it, and Marin is the first to fall. Amazing nade from Desti. And now they're going to send the entire squad. A little bit of reverse nade engagement. Doesn't quite get the knock, but Bozanak is going to be the one to secure himself. That one can't get the flush, though. And the DBS is out, which means that Avoid mean business here, DK. They want to go for the squad wipe.
Well, let's see whether or not they are going to be able to pull on through. So far, a really good aggressive push coming through here. But Avoid now, I mean, they still got to find that way to try and just come through with the necessary answers. I mean, Bozanak, I like these cheeky nades getting flung into those tiny little windows. And again, Desti gets popped on up, as we can see Aka just locking that one in so beautifully.
I'm surprised that Avoid are so interested in taking this fight, because they could have just lived together inside Lipovka without really fighting each other, but it seems like they just want to fully commit to it. Nice DBS shot from Pass. But you need to see some confirms right now. Ultra was the first to be taken down and confirmed. Avoid still have 2. But Vengeance, now with all of this commotion happening, are we going to see a potential third party from Alpi? I'm not too sure, but they're hearing this fight. They could try and just claim full ownership, while Rush is also slowly sneaking their way up north of the city. A lot of action is unfolding here, DK. It's going to be tough to follow everything.
Yeah, but you got to commend the efforts, though, coming through on the edge. I mean, Tepes reaching in, popping off a little bit of that contentious play, but Epsilon now having to worry about the main problem, which is, of course, going to be coming through just on their back end. As you can see, Achomi holding nice and steady, and this is a good opposition now for Roja to try and see whether the rest of Epsilon is going to fall to their sprays here. You got Furia also just off in the distance. And I mean, this is now putting Epsilon Axe on a very difficult footing. I mean, all they have to work with are these cliffs.
It really is tough, and I think the circle's possibly going to make it work. Oh my word. Okay, we're going to have a potentially tough last circle if it goes to Lipovka again. One strong position, and in this entire game here, DK, it is so important to mention, Big Baby's position is goated. It is amazingly strong. No teams are going to come and sweep you from the southern edge. The West, very minimal threats right now with the side of Firestorm and God's Ultimate. I don't expect them to go for full-on breach on this location just yet. It might happen on a tougher later circle on phase 5, but as of right now, Big Baby, not involved in the fights in Lipovka, can just chill in their position, gathering maximum information, not wasting their resources. I say this is a really good setup for them to, who knows, maybe go the entire way and get the big old chicken dinner slammed down.
Well, speaking about a good position, you can see a similar angle being held here by Epsilon. The only problem with their spot is it's not within the zone. They still need to find a way to get themselves secured moving on forward. Firestorm also presented with a bit of an opportunity as they now pull in from the western front. But we've got Rush just up ahead of them. Several more just on the opposing sides. And Vengeance now could find themselves in a little bit of a pincer.
Wait, Rush are third-partying that? Did I see that right? I think they are. Rush always want to take a fight, to be honest. I'm not really too shocked by this unfolding. Currently up to 2 eliminations this match. Up north, I want to see Achomi. They also going for a mad dash in the center of the circle, leaving Carryboy behind, it seems, which is a bit unfortunate. It seems like they might have to play the rest of this game as a 2-man if they are able to hold it, but you're going to need 4 play. Oh, no, okay, they're regrouping. Okay, I was looking at the map feed. It was not the case. They are back as a 4-man. They're in the circle, but not the easiest, strongest position to hold here, so they're going to lose players. And Has 666 is going to be the first to fall.
Let's see where this one is going to go now. God's Ultimate trying to push through, trying to get their entry, trying to dip their toes into a little bit of that zone play. But Achomi now getting slowly taken apart here, as we can see Vama following through with yet another angle. Up comes Big Baby, overlaid with a beautiful reach inside.
Yeah, I think if you were a Achomi here, you want to breach a team that's already in a strong spot. Go in center, you're just going to make yourself prone to taking shots from all angles. So right now, they already lost a player. Down to 3. This is going to be tough for them to leave. Nice spray down from Blue. Doesn't quite get the connection, but scares them away. They're onto the western side. You can see slowly but surely Epsilon Axe encroaching in the circle, looking to breach onto Big Baby's strong spot, but they're split away. They will not be able to take care of Epsilon. They're coming in as a full squad, and here you go. Epsilon Axe are initiating a successful breach.
Oh, so good to see. But Epsilon now having to try and batch themselves up, still looking to hold on with that 3-piece. But God's Ultimate being quite relentless. You can say the same coming through here from Big Baby. This is going to be a next level angle, though. Dennis definitely needs to try and lock this one down before God's Ultimate trying to get the jump.
I love how God's Ultimate play these ones. They stick together as a squad. They're going for the buggy scout strat too from Vama 69, sorry. So they're going to try their best to get as maximum information as they possibly can gather. Epsilon Axe, really good breach, I have to say here, DK on the west, but I do think Big Baby were maybe a little bit too split, so they couldn't quite regroup against that.
Let's see how this one is going to push through now. Here we go. It is going to be God's Ultimate trying to just apply that last little ditch bit of pressure over on towards Epsilon Axe. But so far, it seems like the Shack is going to be providing them the necessary coverage that they need. And I think this is an opportunity now for especially Epsilon Axe and potentially even maybe Big Baby to see if they can take the fight to the side here of God's Ultimate.
It's interesting to see Rogo with the M16. I think he's going to use it more as a soft DMR more than anything. But he's popped the wheels. They can't leave. Seem like God's Ultimate. If they want to keep clearing space, they're in a shed, which is, as we know, DK, the most nadeable spot in the game. Those 2 nades could be massive against Epsilon Action, and they can't leave their position. They are pretty much just waiting to get eliminated in the next few seconds against God's Ultimate in... We'll see how the nades are going to connect. Tornado, nice little off angle, but I don't think it's going to be enough to overwhelm them being between Big Baby and the full squad of God's Ultimate. Oh, okay. Maybe I'll take that back. I'm not sure.
All right, so here we go now. It is going to be up to Epsilon Axe still, as they are starting to mobilize themselves. But I like this turnaround as they are looking to mount the aggression here, getting ready for a bit of a breach, a bit of a push. But again, right, it's such a difficult ridge to get any secured position on. And now it is going to be Vama not even waiting around. They are instead going to be flushing right on forward, but a very quick response here from Furia.
Oh, God's Ultimate sending it one by one here, DK. Not the way you want to approach it. You know that Epsilon Axe, despite being a single duo squad, they can take 2v1s pretty damn easily. Here you go, though. Another player of God's Ultimate trying to take the fight, trying to buy time for his teammates to go for the res. But third party's happening. It's Dennis here, DK, getting involved, getting the knock with a DP, and that nade is going to be sealing the deal. That's the nail in the coffin as Epsilon Axe are sent straight back to the lobby.
Oh, good play coming in here. But of course, well, it is going to be Rush looking to apply even more of the angles as they now too start to step into the fray, step up to the party. Because he got ultimate. I mean, this is now quite a tough position. They were looking so good. We have seen quite a bit of a clutch come through from Rogo before, but I don't quite know if they're going to be able to pull this one out of the bag.
I'm not too sure. It's going to be a tough one. This next circle is going to be very telling. Is it going to end up going towards the city? If it does, Team Alpi in a very strong spot that they could contend for chicken dinner. Or if it goes over to the west, it's all between your Rush team, God's Ultimate, or your big babies. Those are going to be all the contenders. It's a 50-50 split. It's going to be a coin toss. Coin toss. Coin toss. Oh my word. Coin toss. That's what I'm going with. I had such a cool sentence in mind and I mess it up. But Rush, this is a really strong third-party opportunity, DK. If they clear up God's Ultimate, they could be gunning for a win.
Yeah, and we know Rush, they do possess the capabilities to play, to make a play like this, rather.
They can play.
Yeah, that too. But now it's going to be up to RKG and Poker to see just what their approach will be to try and close this one up. But again, I like how cautious they are on the approach. Not going to be looking to cross that ridge, put themselves in a vulnerable position. Instead, slowly encroaching, looking to see what the play here from God's Ultimate will be.
Oh, 9 nades, Reikage. 9 bloody nades. He's the Hokage of the nade village, it seems. I don't know what's going on there. Jesus Christ. Okay. He's trying to get them. Unfortunately for him, Blue is behind the shed, so maybe not the easiest nade to hit in the world at that kind of range, but the smokes are coming out on the... Oh my... Okay. Team Alpi, the only thing that I would see going wrong here, DK, for Team Alpi is multiple teams crashing them at the same time. Because that position is relatively strong. It's 3 big sheds to defend. So it is pretty easy to get into, but if the teams are hurting and fighting to get to that spot, I think Team Alpi might have a win in the bag here.
Yeah, but I think also a little bit of danger could come through from the western side. Fortunately for them, they don't have a lot of opposition situated on this western front, right? The majority of the teams that they are worried about at this point, I would say, is going to come through from that eastern side. So they're going to have to play the position there quite nicely. In the meanwhile, it is going to be Poker now, continuing the onslaught. Big Baby also now getting drawn in like moss to the flame as they are starting to just push on through. You can see already the hit starting to connect up. It is going to be Rogo down. Blue now left to try and make everything work out here for God's Ultimate.
If you're Big Baby, I would even say maybe you just go for the full-on squad wipe on God's Ultimate and Rush. You see that they're currently hurting. They got a player knocked on both sides. If you can just clear all of that amount of space to the west, your transition downhill towards Team Alpi is going to be made so much smoother. So I would think this would be the smartest play. Or you can just wait in the circle, which is what I think they're going to go for towards those shed rock positions, and just wait things out. They don't want to get involved. If the teams die on their lonesome, that would be even better for them because they just don't take that extra bit of risk. So it seems like that's going to be their approach, which I can't argue with. I think it is a very smart strat for the Big Babies to use.
Yeah, we already see a little bit of difficulty being had there by Rush and, of course, God's Ultimate, as they are, well, covered with regards to each other, but they are quite exposed onto the teams towards this eastern side. And now it's going to be an opportunity for Chomi to see just how much of a defensive play they can mount here, as Vengeance could potentially come knocking on the door. The Blue Zone is going to constrict the playable area. But DX, though, Max, in the meanwhile, they're going to be looking to spread themselves out.
I'm surprised DX has survived this long. Let's not forget they started off phase 1 circle, not even there really. They just dropped and it was cheapest. It was also the side of Kazama that were fighting and they lost 2 players very early on. It's a strong strat, to go for these strong positions really early on, then you're just minimizing the amount of movement you have to make. So I do like what DX have been doing. They're just hoping for a sneaky top 5, if not maybe even podium finish. And if the stars align correctly, maybe even steal the win for themselves. Nade out. Not going to get there, but at least to show me know that a team is going to be pushing their way. Going to be Vengeance, hitting himself the fight, and he had no idea. He could not even react to it, DK. And Vengeance looking for their 5th elimination and looking for more.
Well, very dynamic play coming through here from Vengeance, but they are not done just yet. They still have 2 more to go. It's going to be Citizen and Roja, but I definitely would watch out for Citizen, as we saw Citizen packing quite a bit of a punch in their matches yesterday. Now is going to be the opportunity for Chomi to pull the cat out of the bag here. But Vengeance, they look cool, they look calm, they are so collected, and now just awaiting the opportune moment to strike. I'm not quite sure if Marin is going to be able to do anything from this far away, but now with the zone shifting down to the south, they're going to have to do something here.
I mean, with Firestorm in their position, I do wonder if they want to get involved with this fight. But it's happening exactly as I said, right? You're looking at Team Alpi, sorry. All these teams are going to get to them, but they're going to be wounded. They're going to have lost players. Akomi are not as a full squad. Vengeance, I'd be surprised if they do make it as a 4-man team after this fight, because there's so many off angles to deal with. So Team Alpi, with this next circle shift that just popped for phase 7, looking pretty grand once more, but Firestorm, with those nades in hand, are there to ruin and third-party this fight of Vengeance versus Akomi. As Akomi bite the dust and get eliminated, that's a 7th position. Not too many points coming their way.
Yep, it's unfortunate, but it's definitely a great run here for the Vengeance team, as they do find themselves now with 6 eliminations up. But now comes the tough part. They need to get themselves moving forward. And as we've already discussed, right, Alpi, they have possession of those compounds, the prime real estate in this next zone. I think it's a good call coming through from Firestorm, looking to capitalize on a bit of an available opportunity, pushing onto the side, but up comes Blue, and this is quite a bit of a hard play now. Up to Rolex. Ooh!
Oh, wow. What? I did not expect them to come out winning that fight. Jesus. Okay, Rolex, really good execution. Gets to the roadside. And with that bug, he has a little bit of coverage. If he could push himself a little bit further in the circle, like especially to that tree, that would be great. I think Big Baby might be the death of him. Now, here you go, Team Alpi. We talked about their position ages ago here, DK. They have 0 eliminations, which means they have a ton of resources to work with. And it's going to be a 4v4 of Team Alpi versus Vengeance. And only one team will come out on top.
Well, as we know, Alpi, they've already tasted a little bit of glory all the way back in the first match on day number 1, exactly on Erangel. So let's see whether or not they can uphold that play, hold the angles to defend their honor. But Vengeance, they seem hungry, they seem eager. It seems like they want to get their hands on that winner chicken dinner. And now is going to be the opportunity.
Look at Marin's position. Actually really smart. Is denying multiple angles away from Alpi, so Marin is actually setting up his team in a really, really good spot. Gonna have one more circle shift in 2 seconds. If it shifts away, it's gonna add a little bit of extra sense of urgency, and it does shift away. Imperial's family, we forgot about them, DK, this game. They've been sneaking on the coastal line, but they could, from their position, just snake easily into a podium finish location.
Yeah, they definitely could. Especially now seeing that the rest of the teams are situated up onto this northern side of zone, and they are going to be looking to settle their differences. But the opportunity is there for both Alpi and Vengeance to follow through. Alpi, of course, yet to find their first eliminations in this match. But they've got the numbers, they've got the angles, and they know that Vengeance will need to move towards them to get themselves situated.
Oh, Marin, okay. And they only got 10 seconds here, DK. In 10 seconds, we're going to have this fight just blasting out of control. Out of control. It's going to be tough for them to deal with. Chucking all the bit of utility they have, but seem like they're going to have no more. Actually, the Molly of Moxita connects onto Aka. That's massive. Aoki, are you going to go for the push or wait for things to happen?
Oh, come on. Ooh! The fan just hitting it dirty. Going through with the DBS. Now it's going to be Marin, but they too shall fall. Vengeance now getting done dirty as the shots come in all over the place.
Oh, but that opening molly of Moxito, and then Fang just cleared 3 players of Vengeance on his lonesome. What the hell just happened? Team Alpi, though, not losing a single player in that fight is massive. They can transition into the circle, look to secure themselves their chicken dinner. And hopefully the unraveling of this one is going to go well. This is going to be their 3rd chicken dinner here, DK, in this PMCO. And another elimination up to 5, looking for a total of 7 against Big Baby.
Oh, this could be absolutely clutch now coming through for them. But Big Baby now being put on quite a bit of a back foot, pressed up onto the edge of Zoran. And this is the ticket now for LP. They just got to spread themselves out and rush forward. Not individually, but use that team advantage that they've got to try and overpower the side of Big Baby.
Please stick as a 2-2 split. I think that anything more than that, if you lose a solo, I swear, don't lose a solo. Gets into the smoke. They're trying to not get spotted. He does get into the con. Does actually get information on the Dennis. Now he's going to go for the final player. And that is it. Locked and loaded. Team Alpi to secure their third chicken dinner of this PMCO.
I mean, what a play though coming through from Team LP, right? They got the first chicken in match one, day one. They rise to the occasion yet again. They are on an absolute rampage. And I mean, that is their second chicken now on Erangel.
Yeah, it is. Second chicken dinner on Erangel and third chicken dinner overall this PMCO. I was a little bit scared because I saw that, I think it was the Lamborghini or one of the supercars. I'm not great at cars, guys, okay? But it was going so slow, I was really scared they were going to lose a solo player. And if that happens down to a 2v3, it could have been a little bit rough there. But whew, what a match here, DK. And here you go, Team Alpi, not only getting himself the chicken dinner, but 17 points total to boot. So that's going to be great for their position on the overall rankings.
Yeah, that is going to restore quite a bit of that team morale. I think there might even be a potential upset coming through here. But of course, they're going to have to contest against the side here of Big Baby, who also is able to secure themselves double-digit plays. Team Kazama, though, yeah, starting the day off in second place, but coming through with a bag of bubbles this time around.
The cool thing by being a high placement on the last day is you have a little bit of a cushion, you have a little bit of extra give to your position on the ranking, so it's not going to hurt them that heavily. If it keeps happening throughout the day, it might start to get a little bit scary though, so hopefully that will not be the case. But we're going to check out some of our cool replays, and we had no time to breathe here, DK, because from the get-go, TPS, DX were fighting with Kazama 2. It was an absolute showdown from the start.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very unfortunate play there on the side of Kazama. But, I mean, I just got to say, though, this insane herding of players that we had down towards the southern side of Zoran. This was absolutely crazy. But surprisingly enough, though, there was a lot more aggression coming through over on towards the western side of Zoran.
Yeah, western side fights were interesting, DK. You had Epsilon, Axe currently taking the fight. I think Rush went for a really smart third party, but God's Ultimate were just very, very strong on their control of that ridge line. And despite not having the full players, they made it work out. But at the end of the day, does it really matter? Because Team Alpi, they had the circle coming their way. And what a fight against Vengeance. That 4v4 did not even look like a 4v4. It felt like a 4v1. That's how dominant that fight actually was in the end.
I mean, if the stars align, there's not much that can go wrong. And I mean, that Bugatti play at the end to come in clutch, just pushing the final player out of the zone. I mean, you know, amazing, amazing plays. But speaking of amazing, we still have 3 more matches to go. And in saying that, we are going to be hopping into a quick break, so stay tuned. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the last day of the last chance. Day number 3 right here in PMCO Europe. And of course, as we know, we are prepping ourselves to get into our second match. But if you first missed the first match, well, we did see Team LP come through with a glorious winner with a chicken dinner. But Max, now, as we are approaching a little bit of that Murmur action, right, I'm going to be looking at the side of Team T-Pairs to potentially maybe step up and get themselves a winner chicken dinner. Because if we look at how they've been playing the previous 2 Murmurs, I mean, they are so far the most consistent team that we've seen on this map.
They really have been. They've been a strong contender on that battleground. If I had to go for another team I would like to see do well, I'm going to go with Avoid. They got himself a podium finish last time around on this map, and I think that a chicken dinner is the only thing that could save them right now, DK. So I will see if Avoid can do it, even though I'm not too happy with how they played the previous game. I think that they had no need to take that early of a fight against Vengeance in Lipovka. So hopefully they can just put a little bit more thought process behind those kind of engagements. But it's now or never. So it's do or die for Avoid. If they want to make it in top 8, they need to start getting points on board right here, right now, over on Miramar.
Yeah, there's a high demand coming through for those points, and as you said already, right, only the top 8 teams will move through into those grand finals. So it's all going to boil down to how the teams push through these coming matches, and I think Miramar is going to be a golden opportunity for the teams to do exactly that. But as we know, only 2 teams have found themselves winner chicken dinners here. We've seen Big Baby, and of course, we've seen LP come through with their winner. So there is pressure riding on the shoulders for the other teams to step up and bring in that charge leading forward to the end.
Yeah, or we're going to have a back-to-back Alpi win. So many things could be happening here, DK, but it's been a really fun last 2 days of action for this tournament. I think we've really seen some pretty significant changes for some of the teams. So the cool thing is that even if you don't qualify, it's important to mention, DK, that there's a lot of learnings you get from these kind of tournaments. There's a lot of experience you gather. So teams that might not qualify today might be the ones to qualify tomorrow, and by doing that might also be the next future pro top tier players of the European region. So no, even if it doesn't make it, don't give up. You can still have a chance to qualify for your entire PUBG Mobile esports career in the future. It's not over just yet.
Yeah, you just gotta be persistent, right? And unrelenting, trying to bring in or garner as much growth as you can possibly bring in. I mean, we've been seeing quite a bit of that already happening just in this stage, right? The teams applying themselves, adapting to how the opposing squads are performing, and I think, looking at these teams moving forward into the grand finals, whoever our top 8 might be at the end of the day, I think it is going to be quite impressive to see how they are going to be carrying that information forward moving into the grand finals.
It's going to be very important because one thing that the teams that already qualified for the grand finals have going in their favor, they can watch this stream. They can know exactly how the top 8 teams play, how they drop, how they rotate, how they execute their game plans, etc., etc. So you just got to be careful that's going to work out, because you're going to have a slight disadvantage heading into the grand finals compared to those guys that already made it. And we got some big contenders. I think one team that we can mention already in the grand finals, DK, it's Nexus Gaming. Yes, the boys, the lads, the legends from Romania are playing in the grand finals of this tournament. So they're not going to be easy to eliminate. I can tell you that much. They're going to be messing up a lot of these teams.
Well, it's a great opportunity to learn, to grow, right, for the other teams, because, you know, if you go up against squads that have a bit of an experience, that experience also rubs off, because it is either you step up to the challenge, or you're going to have to settle for a nice warm seat over in the lobby. One of the two is going to happen, and I'm hoping that, you know, the former is the case, that the teams step up, that they continue to try and, you know, bring in all the improvements that they can find here. And in doing so, they prep themselves up for what is to come, potentially moving into the professional scene.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, that's always what these teams are going to be hoping for, but Rush are not hoping to get eliminated early again. And that's going to be Big Baby looking for that flush into El Pozo, which is weird. It seemed like teams are just, I don't know, don't care. Like, fights like this could easily not happen. You could have one team drop to the west of El Pozo, one team drop to the east of El Pozo. It's like it's Polyana in Erangel. You just don't have to really end up fighting. And yet they still go for it, and I think that's the big issue for Rush that might hurt them in the long run, is that they keep trying to fight. And right here, even though we know they can be aggressive, it's not quite working out. Though that was a sick nade onto Overlaid, so good job, good stuff.
Oh, I mean, Overlaid so low on that HP bar, but that nade a little bit overcooked. It does instead look like a bit of fireworks going off here, but oh! Yeah, Raikg just coughing in their direction, and that brought through the knock. But fortunately, they got Arabu there with the M249.
You see what I mean? It's a mess. It's a mess of a fight, DK. Nobody likes it. Nobody's enjoying this right now. Big Baby's not enjoying it. Rush are not enjoying it. The only time you enjoy is when you get a squad wipe, which I don't think is going to happen here, to be completely honest, because it's so damn all over the place. Big Baby, Baban is going to be playing himself those water silos, which has got really good amount of coverage. Just got to be careful of those pesky nades that could be an issue. Well, Shum seemed like he's got himself his nade in hand. I don't know if he's going to be able to connect it, though. He has a good idea, can follow the footsteps. But that's actually it for Raikage. He's going to be confirmed away. Rush down to now 3, while the other side can go for that res onto their teammate Overlaid. So it's going to be... if they could leave the fight... I'm getting annoyed. I'm getting frustrated right now, DK. I think you can feel it in my voice. I don't like this. Hot drops are stupid.
Especially when it's as widespread as this one. I mean, you can see Rush and Big Baby all across this region. We got Dennis all the way in the far back end. We got Betana also then looking to push through on that northern side. But now, Overlaid, they need to try and find a bit of a response here, seeing that they've just been brought back on their feet. Dennis coming through with a little bit of suppressive fire here, but unfortunately not able to lock in the exact plays over on towards Metana.
I mean, Big Baby aren't going to let them go now. They got them locked and pinned in locations they can't escape. Their car exploded earlier, so there's no escape for them. So they're just going to try and confirm himself. Easy eliminations. Looking at Baban, he's got himself a ×6 scope on that M4, which is pretty much a sniper. You know, is it an AR? No, it's not. It's a sniper. We all know it is. Just gonna get himself those long-range shots if he needs to. And he's got the DBS too. I mean, they're completely loaded out of their bloody minds. I'm looking at the circle. Kazama is rotating close south of El Pozo. I don't know if they'll see this and see an opportunity to third party. They might. They could take a third party south of the city of El Pozo, not even get involved, DK, and they could just get free limbs. I just wonder if that's going to be their mindset, but there is a chance that might happen.
I mean, there could be quite a big turning point, especially coming through. You're seeing that Big Baby is so exposed to that southern side, but it does seem like Kazama are going to be opting for a position a little bit more towards the western front. But if they hear the engagements, that could be the cue for them to get involved. Now, Big Baby, they have to follow through with some kind of a push. Overlaid, trying to see if they can find a bit of a position here. Shroom just on the opposite end.
Oh, no.
I'm expecting a big boom to come through on this one.
I don't like this right now. He's pushing... Oh, I thought he was pushing solo. I guess he has a teammate... Oh, yeah, the teammate next to him. Good. It does get a one-on-one trade, though. And Poka, we know how strong this guy can be in these stressful situations. They're all lined up on the side. He doesn't have a nade. One nade in this situation would be deadly, DK. But he's jumping down here with the Vector power. Trying to get himself to squad wipe with that weapon is going to be definitely interesting. The one is going to be pushing uphill while the other is going to be holding the lower ground. He's going to try and get himself that one. One bullet's all he needs on the Vector. He gets it. Poker's back for the clutch scenario once more. And Big Baby now on the run for it. They struggling, turning a 4v3 into now what seems to be a 1v1 of Baban versus Poker. And Poker is going for the res onto Chum.
We do see Metana also now starting to close the gap, trying to bring in that extra little bit of support. Oh, but now it's going to be up to Baban to see if they can survive the initial frontline assault. But still Dennis, right? Going to be hanging around in the back. We haven't seen a lot of movement really coming through from Dennis, but it does seem like they've now lit a little bit of fire as they have to now clutch it out. This is going to be a make or break play here for Big Baby.
I kind of want to imagine what the comms of Big Baby are right now. I think they were like, Dennis, what the hell are you doing over there? Why not fighting with the team? And Dennis is like, I hate hot drops, they're stupid. He's my spirit animal. Dennis is my spirit animal. Okay, I would
Yeah.
just chill in the distance. This is a mess. I hate every single like bit of this fight. Not going to get involved whatsoever. I'm going to be voting blank on that engagement. So yeah, so far it seemed like Russia's going to win it, but do they really win it, DK? They're down to 3. Odds of a chicken dinner already looking relatively slim.
Yeah, it is looking quite slim there for the side of Rush, but who knows? Maybe they are going to be looking to clutch up here. In the meanwhile, we did also see a little bit of an altercation coming through between God's Ultimate and Alpi down on towards the southern side. But now they're going to have to try and push to get themselves situated, and it's going to be a race for a lot of our teams on the edges here. T-Pez also now just gaining a little bit of a foothold here. You can see Firestorm trying to push through from the eastern side as we await the zone shift. And look at that, Avoid smack dab center.
Though, if you're Void, do you stay in that compound, which you could, or you could go for what I think is a better option. You can go for 2 players on a hilltop that's just north of their position. You can get there by driving cars. And you can go for 2 players in the warehouses south of El Pozo Fields. I think that's a really strong split. Maybe you want to be a bit cautious because teams might intend to breach it, but if you're quick on the pivot, if you regroup fast enough when teams breach you, you're getting free information, a really strong spot to boot. I would like to see, maybe not Avoid, but another team go for what I think would be the strongest early game stage position to play from.
It does seem like Avoid are going to be opting for that hilltop.
Oh, they are?
They are going to be starting to climb. So I think for Void, as you said, right, a lot of information can be provided from such a position, but it is going to require a little bit of finessing because it is quite an obvious position to hold.
I'm a little bit scared though because it seems like they're sending 4 players on the mountain, which it's a bit tough because goodbye, Dennis. It's a bit tough because leaving that position, you're going to be very predictable. The reason why it's strong to have a 2-2 split is because you have teammates that are going to assist your downfall down into the fields to then regroup. If you're all up there and you have to leave, everyone's going to be looking at you. The moment you start going downhill, you're going to get your heads blown right off. So that is why I'm a little bit skeptical, DK, for Void, is how they're going to play the moments they have to leave. Because unless you get the luckiest circle in the world that goes right on top of the mountain, Avoid win it, easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Yeah.
I don't expect that to happen. So I want to see how their game plan is going to unfold when they have to leave that spot.
Yeah, I think a good alternate split for that could also maybe be 2 players in those warehouses, those compounds that you were pointing out, and then the other half of the team potentially up on that mountain side. But it does seem like Avoid are trying to spread themselves out throughout that mountain. So instead of just focusing up on the 1 peak, they are going to be looking to settle for 2. And I think that is just in the nick of time, especially now that we've got Epsilon Axe starting to aggress from that northern side.
The thing is, you can't share this mountain. You just start fighting constantly. It's like a Cold War 2.0 on that mountain. You cannot afford to give Epsilons that strong position north of the mountain. So you need to fight for it if you are Void. Otherwise, you're going to get pushed and kicked the hell off. But it seemed like it's too late. Tornado has already made it up there. And because of that hilltop that Tornado is on, DK, it's a little bit higher. He can deny Avoid from peeking. And that's the reason why they were there in the first place. They want to peek. They want to get information. Now, this hilltop going to Epsilon, they're going to struggle to scout anything that's north of their location.
It's all going to be down to whether or not they get eyes over on Tornado. But Tornado, yeah, instead going to be looking to maybe climb down the hill, giving up the position. So this is now looking quite favorable here for Avoid. Things not looking all too great here for Firestorm, though, as they've bumped into a little bit of Vengeance. But Vengeance also now feeling a little bit of that tickle come through, as the blue zone and the lead is going to be meeting up with him.
Vengeance. I mean, we know what they can do from the previous game, right? But Marin is not going to get res. There is no way in hell. There you go. 1 more bullet, and he's confirmed by Rolex from Firestorm. With a really cool weapon skin at that, so he's got some extra drip to go back to the lobby with. Always cool to have. But northeast, not the nicest position, though. While we're looking at the minimap here, DK, I love the rotation from Epsilon. They did not commit to that hilltop, which I think is good. I think that's a really good decision. And they went for the smallest hilltop over to the east of where Avoid currently play. That is such a strong, important position for where the circle currently is. If the circle goes their way, it's not the easiest to defend because it's a really big amount of land to defend, but
Mm.
if you have strong communication and synergy, Epsilon could also be setting himself up for at least a strong finish, if not maybe a win if they can play it down to a T this entire match.
And it also helps them kind of deal with the threat coming through from a void, right? Because they have the angles, the line of sight up onto that mountain as well. Not a direct line of sight, but it's going to be a little bit easier for them to defend if a void were to do anything in their direction. But the rest of the teams now, in the meanwhile, are going to be looking to get themselves situated. There's going to be DX just wrapping around the edge of zone. And also quite a bit of terrain to play with here. I'm not quite sure if they spotted out Metana, but Metana now might receive a little bit of unwanted company.
Yeah, and actually Matana is the one that pretty much chased away Epsilon. The reason why they didn't go for that mountain play anymore is that Matana was coming on his own and were like, oh, we can't go for the mountain. We're just going to get split, so let's regroup. So I think that was a good plan from Epsilon again. The Rush are just getting cornered by Kazama. And while this is happening, DX are just being an overlook of this entire scenario unfolding. Just keeping their eyes peeled open. But Matana could be a real pain for DX because if they breach the compound, he might just get a flush or two before they have time to react.
Well, speaking about reactions and rushing. Oh, beautiful play though there from Bozanak. As they get the opening play into the side here of Vichomi, and now it is going to be send times. You can see Chapo, oh, trying to pop it up onto Mali. But Mali quick on the reactions, or rather that is Kali Boy, as they do not try to put themselves just out of harm's way. But Roja coming through with a defensive play.
I love Roja. He was just spraying. He had no more bullets. He still tried to keep spraying. Ah, God damn it! Just one bullet away. But no, you got to reload Roja. Unfortunately, that's how the game works. But he's got his 30 bullets. Didn't get increased clip, unfortunately. So 30 bullets a pop is all he's going to have. And the circle shifts again. And Avoid, you know what? Might come to regret leaving their compound because it's still looking in a really strong spot. We'll have to see. So over to the east, I'm looking here, DK at Chomi versus Vengeance. If they can stop this fight from happening and go to that warehouse in the more central east part of the map, that will be massive. They're just locked in this scenario right now that can't really escape just yet.
Yeah, but I think a good play here for Chomi is that 2-2 split. I would maybe love to see Roja try and creep in a little bit closer. I mean, they do have Carry Boy there with him as well, so, or Carl Boy rather. So there is an opportunity for them to try and maybe either constrict that play or, as you suggested, just get in their vehicles and get themselves situated up and towards the warehouse.
They have a buggy. I think that the best game plan would be getting a buggy, rush towards that warehouse while your two teammates on that hill, do you mention DK on that 2-2 split, defend that transition. And I think the two of the players on that hill also have cars. If they do, that is, I think, the most optimal play. You're not taking a risk of losing players, and you're instantly getting to one of the best positions in this circle. So we'll see if that's going to be their game plan, or if they just want to finish up this fight versus Vengeance. I think they're doing it right now. I think we can see on the minimap that Chomi got into the buggy and are trying to escape from the grasp of Vengeance. That's a good plan.
Well, now let's see what the plan is here going to be for the side of Kazama. Also still have quite a bit of ground to cover. But I think the southern rotation on their end, you know, kind of giving up this open field and instead going for the terrain, a little bit of that elevation could be something that could play in favor here of Kazama. But they're going to have to be quite careful about this because obviously defense just waiting in the wing. It's going to be Lazy X, not rocking a pistol this time around. Instead, going for a little bit of that Scar L UMP combo. This is an opportunity for T-Pes now to try and at least find a little bit of a weakness, a bit of a vulnerability at the side of Kazama.
It's been very interesting this PMCO. DK, I've seen a lot of Scar UMP loadouts, which I find interesting. I'm surprised we're not seeing more variety in the sense that we're not seeing more Scar or like any kind of AR signed up with a DBS or with an Mini 14, not really Kar 98, etc., because they're not Giga meta. You're still looking for those DMRs, the SLRs, the Mini 14s, SKS if you really have to. So I'm a little bit surprised by that, but it seems like the UMP can laser down the competition really quickly. It's got almost no recoil at a short to mid range, so you can just easily transition to it if you need. But look, even here we see an M4 UMP. Yeah, that seemed like really the big loadout these players know. But Caster's got himself the Mini 14, so he's going to get one clean headshot to connect.
I mean, we've seen what devastation the UMP can bring, especially on close range. And, time and time again, we've seen the UMP actually contest the DBS, where the shots just somehow miraculously manage to land before the DBS can get its shot secured. So I think that's maybe also a slight adjustment to what we've seen come through with the meta here. But speaking about meta, we are going to be looking to see where this next zone is going to be taking us. And whoever the zone blesses, they are going to be smiling all the way to the end here.
I still think the DBS is way more broken. But okay, that's it. I wanted to get my last little point in. Wait for the circle to come up and avoids high ground terrain is still in play. I've seen this exact circle in PMPL Europe just a few weeks ago, DK, and it is not easy. It is not easy to play. It's down to a little bit of luck on what position you go for, and you're just going to hope it is going to be a strong spot. But right now, where Epsilon Axe are, which is where Vengeance are currently looking to breach, is going to be possibly a game-winning position if you can transition properly on those ridges. So that fight that we're going to see happen very soon normally is going to be a very pivotal point for this match.
And it does seem like Epsilon are going to be trying to vie for their own bit of a position exactly over on towards that eastern side. TPS, in the meanwhile, they're going to be backing out of an opportunity here. Ooh, trying to see if they can maybe reach on in. But again, I think both for Kazama and Tipez, there's a golden opportunity to instead focus on the zone positioning, trying to move a little bit forward, seeing that both teams have the reach cover they need to pull off that repositioning.
It's a bit rough, I would say, though. I think that it'd be nicer if you could wrap up and finish this fight completely, because you got Kazama's angle, you got also Komi's angle, you got God's Ultimate's angle. It's really tough for TPS to leave this fight. So they also jamming it out, just piped up with the radio, apparently. But their transition, I think, is going to be met with a little bit of despair, because as we see, there you go, exactly what I was talking about. Okomi are coming their way. They are not going to give that rotation for free, because they also, similar way to TPS, have to clear all of this space. So Casta has got a great Mini 14 loadout with the M249. He's got to be really, really on the ball when it comes to defending those ridges to make sure his team can rotate safely down these hills.
It's going to be a tough play indeed. But now Atomi, you could look to maybe find something to make happen here. But still, right, Kazama also going to be rotating closer and closer onto the back end there of T-Pairs. Meanwhile, the God's Ultimate and LP finding themselves in a bit of a standoff here, a bit of a trade back and forth across the way. I think this could be one of the few instances where LP, are going to be sneaking it in, popping the nade over onto blue. And that now leaves only Leon and Rogo for the side of God's Ultimate.
Alpi's position here, DK, is really strong until Avoid really starts to get involved in this game. Right now, they're going to stay on their ivory tower and just chill out, because there's no reason for them to leave their position anytime soon. But the moment they start to de-escalate their position, go downhill, that's when our Alpi are going to struggle to defend that roadside position. It's good right now. For the long-term future, depending on where this next circle goes, I'm not too sure. South though, Kazama trying to rotate downhill. They did it too late, and because of that, T-Pace will be the one to pick themselves up eliminations alongside Achomi. And actually, Achomi got all of those, I believe. So no sharing. Achomi just got himself the squad wipe on a Yakaza.
Well, T-Pace, of course, now also down to a two-piece. So there is going to be quite a bit of that increased pressure coming through onto Lazy X as well as on Burke. But Achomi picking up some good momentum here. I like the spacing, quite a bit of aggression. And now Burke just trying to scan the vicinity as Lazy X gets taken on down. And this puts T-Pace in such a big position. Well, quite a bit of a troubling position, rather.
It really is. So Chomi, understand we need to clear all of this space. We're going to go for the push onto T-Pes. Well, that knock came through, which is a really smart play. I love this from a Chomi. And we see they were a team on the limit, DK, of making it to top 8. They can't afford to lose players. They're here with the Grozo. Gets one. Doesn't quite get the second. Ooh, that was a close one. If he got the double, that could have been the death of a Chomi. But that 2-2 split will be able to get himself the heal off, get themselves the res, regroup, and keep on trying to transition down that hillside. I just think the God's Ultimate are a bit slow on the rotate. I'm intrigued to see what their move is going to be.
Well, we'll find out very, very soon how they are going to be opting to get themselves in. Well, the answer is aggressively as they rush forward on towards Team LB, but they've now been reduced down to 1. LB still managing to hold true, but up comes the play. Fan comes in, and that is it. God Ultimate go right on down as they will have to settle for 10th place and not a single elimination to boot.
Not a single point at all, actually, even DK. So, yeah, tough for them. This is strong for Alpi because that clears another angle that could have been a major issue for them. No teams entering from the south/southwest of the circle is going to allow them to just refocus their attention where it really, really matters, which is towards the circle itself, which is pretty good. Achomi, though, still looking to move away. They can delay a bit because they're barely in circle. That's fine. They can wait for the next circle pop on phase 7, make a big call based on where it goes. But the more you delay it, the more teams are going to take control of this circle. As Firestruck struggling to leave. Firestruck. Fire truck? Firestorm. Could be. They're putting off fires up northeast. Loser player to the blue. And their transition also is going to be met with despair because they're going to go downhill with very little coverage. I don't know if Firestorm are going to make it out alive of this one.
Yeah, I was also curious as to when Avoid we're going to be trying to just utilize this high ground positioning that we see them perched in. But I think a team that is going to be finding themselves a little bit of a tough rotation is also then the Imperials family. But so far, I mean, they've just stuck it into the side of Firestorm as they alleviate all the pressure, at least coming through from that northern side. But now, the big question comes is, how are they going to look to play this one out? Because they find themselves down in that Death Valley.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough. As I said, this circle is going to be rough. Well, I'm just looking at that fight of Epsilon versus Vengeance. I think that is going to be the big fight that is going to result in a winner being picked. The Chapo is still getting valuable information for his team. He knows exactly where Epsilon and Axe are currently playing. Smart from Epsilon and Axe, by the way, they got all their cars hidden inside. So if they win this fight versus Vengeance, they can then transition with the cars in positions that would be tough to transition by foot. So that's a really good setup for the future of this match. But first, you need to survive against Vengeance. And Tornado's taking the solo fight. Versus DX. But he wins it pretty straight. Actually, it wasn't even him. It was Avoid that helped him out. So cheers, Avoid. You just maybe gave a win over to Epsilon because they still have 4 players up and are gone.
I think this next zone is going to be the deciding factor as to who could be the team to clutch that winner chicken dinner. Epsilon now down to a 3-piece, as we can see the pressure starting to build. Great angle here onto it, Sandrick.
Should have got the headshot. He's only got 8. Look, the issue with this position, though, DK, 26 bullets in him, and 14. They're going to be out of ammo. The late game fight is going to be rough.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, and not quite sure how they're going to be able to top up those bags, but they're going to have to try at some point as the zone has moved down into the valley itself. And this is where Metana could now be met with quite a bit of an aggressive push going through from the rest of the teams trying to get themselves situated. In the meanwhile, it's going to be Alpi and Achomi finding themselves in a bit of a standoff here. Both teams having to take the plunge, move on forward, but of course Avoid going to be looking to be an absolute nuisance at this point.
That's going to be the pain for them. Imperial's family actually north. They've been trying to get himself Senko as a scout to see what's happening between Epsilon, Axe, and Vengeance. So don't count Imperial's family out just yet. They still got 4 players, but here it is, the push from Achomi. They're going to try and get downhill, cross the road, but that is not the strat. And wait, Carboy just jumped out a little bit too early. Because of that, they lose a player. They do crash in the center, though, onto Matana, and sprays him down with a cruiser, but it doesn't work out because he's got the DBS ka-chunk. Rush team looking to defend that shed. Oh my word, what a fail of a breach. And he pushes out looking for the player, but can't find anyone. The Rush team, the pros when it comes to playing solo.
Oh, and now it's Achomi down to 1. Oh! There we go. Metana finds the hit.
Wow, okay. I mean, they cleared out El Pozzo. I didn't think they would survive this long, DK, but they sent in a center in that shed, and Matana is just trying to survive for as long as he possibly can do. As Imperial's family seemed like they had a successful scout, but unfortunately not a successful rotation, as now they lost 2, down to 2. I'm just trying to also, just like Matana, play the survival game.
Well, let's see when Nachenko can get themselves situated here. We got Kovu also very, very exposed. Oh, up comes the hits though. Absolute carnage getting dealt into the side. And now Vengeance also going to be feeling a little bit of that sting as Avoid are trying to make their last attempt to get themselves situated in the zone. But a very, very vulnerable position indeed. Quite a bit of strafing, sliding down the hillside. But yep, they are going to be sliding themselves into the lobby if they're not quick about this.
Did I say it or did I say it? This is the issue with this hilltop. You cannot transition if you have no one as an anchor point to facilitate that transition downhill. And of course, because of that, Avoid will not be reaching the top 5 position. Top 5 teams still alive. We've got stuff Imperial's family, Rush, Epsilon Axe, Vengeance, and Team Alpi still running about. But Alpi, from their little ridge, so far no one's really looking their way. And because of Avoid dying in particular, DK, they have no real threat to their location. They can just look at Epsilon and Vengeance and just clear up whoever stays alive after that initiation. So Alpi could be looking for not only their 4th chicken dinner, but a back-to-back here in PMCO.
Yep, they could be cooking. They could be cooking quite a bit of a play, but let's see whether or not Epsilon Act are going to be able to get themselves patched up. I mean, Vengeance also just knocking on the door, looking for the opportunity, the angle. But it's tough. It is very, very tough. Both teams need to take the plunge, get themselves situated, and as you said, this is a golden opportunity now for LP to reign supreme. I mean, Metana still could be holding on to their little shack. No one has so far been able to get them out, but the nades are raining down onto Epsilon.
Whoa! Okay, Akka, that was a massive one. Get himself the entire squad wipe with the rest of his team. But from down below, Matana's still been an absolute pain. Clears up the entirety of Imperial's family. Well, it was just a solo, but still gets it done. And now it's Team Alpi, Vengeance, and Rush. All now going for a 2nd place, and if not, maybe go the entire way for that win. The thing is, Team Alpi's position, very nadeable. I do wonder if Vengeance still have those nades. Because if they do, that might be the end. What a great peek from Moxito. And if you can get the double, that'll be even better. Vengeance might be signing their death warrant here, as that nade is going to be there. But Matana steals it away. What an absolute threat. He's up to double-digit eliminations. What?
Wow. I mean, Rush holding true, right? 10
Wait,
elims, 11 elims.
He could win the game. He's got the most central position.
Ooh. Especially looking at what's coming through here between Alpi and Vengeance. I mean, so far they are just absolutely focused down onto each other. And now with a little bit of a play over on towards Chapo, this could be the ticket now for Alpi to apply themselves moving forward. But Metana already playing a very preemptive position here, getting out of the shack now, trying to line up the sights on towards Alpi.
Look, he's got still almost 300 ammo left in his M4. He's got a bloody DPS, so even if you get to him, you're not going to make it out unscathed. You're going to struggle to take that fight head on. And I don't think Team Alpi have any more cars. I think they're all fuming, smoking from those nades that were taken from Vengeance. And Matana can even play the rooftop. Are you joking? Oh my word. He gets it. He gets not only a 2nd place, he gets a 12th elimination for his team. And now he's just going to try and pick up Alpi one by one. But the Blues are on top of him. It doesn't seem feasible. It doesn't seem doable. And indeed, it is Team Alpi to get themselves the back-to-back win and remain as the kings of Miramar.
I mean, phenomenal play going through there from Alpi. As you said, back-to-back winner chicken dinner. But I think you got to commend the play coming through there from Metana as well. I mean, that roof strategy could have been so clutch if they were a little bit closer to the zone. But you got to give credit over to Alpi. I mean, just absolutely dominating the lobby here today.
I think he could have done it if he didn't have a DBS in his loadout. If you can get 2 weapons and just spray transfer and also change weapons in the process, maybe can make it work out, but the DBS at that range, not going to be super useful. So still a valiant effort, I think fair to say here, DK, because taking a fight, losing a player early in El Pozzo, and then able to make it as far as they did as a solo and just defending that position against a full-on breach of a Chomi Brave is so impressive. So 18 points on board. It was a really bad game 1, but they make it up with game 2 here with those 18 points.
Yeah, Rush not going to quit anytime soon. God's Ultimate, unfortunately, the only team that is not going to be able to secure themselves any points this time around. But again, an absolutely insane showing coming through on Murmur. Even though the zone threw the teams quite a few curveballs, I mean, they were just able to try and keep up with that pacing. Unfortunately for Void, they weren't able to avoid the downfalls of, as you've said, right, rotating up from that mountaintop.
Yeah, I think that 2-2 split would have been maybe a way better option because they could have then gone to the western side, wide rotate south, cleared up potentially also Team Alpi because we saw how strong Team Alpi's position was. Normally, if Avoid fight Alpi head-to-head, normally Avoid win that. Head, like, straight up. They win it so easily. So I think that would have been a way better rotation plan for them. But they just try to send it, and by doing so, Epsilon Axe, Vengeance, Alpi are all looking in their global vicinity, and then Alpi have complete control of that ridge north of the road. There's not much you can do against that in that kind of scenario. So Avoid, again, strong positions, but maybe a little bit of ironing out on those rotations later on down the game so they can get those wins.
Well, at least we are seeing improvements being applied across the board here. And of course, speaking about improvements, the teams will need to bring even more of that as we are going to be rumbling in the jungle up next. So on that, we are going to be hopping into break. So be sure to stay tuned. We'll see you right back in a short few moments.
It's time to upgrade your PUBG mobile outfits. Join free daily cups for solo, duo or squads. Win Faceit points. Exchange for PUBG Mobile UC. To customize your account, join Faceit today and earn rewards. Try for free at faceit.com/PUBG Mobile.
Hello and welcome back to the Team LP show, coming through with a double chicken dinner back-to-back. Erangel, Murmur, ticked off, done and dusted. And they are just absolutely decimating the lobby here. Now, Max, as we are prepping up for a little bit of that Sanok action, as we know, right? Team LP, they've just been running away with the show. Could we be looking at another potential chicken on their end?
Back-to-back-to-back Alpi win here? I mean, are you predicting it? Is that your prediction for this game?
I don't know how I feel about turkeys.
Come on, you have to, man. You did.
Let's go with the yes. Let's go with the yes.
I was gonna say you do that epic intro, and you're like, actually, I'm gonna pick another team. I'm gonna go for God's Ultimate. No, you have to commit, DK. Okay, you can't do sick intros like that and not do it. But yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe they're looking really good. I think that they had some of the greatest rotations in the last 2 matches. So the macro aspect is there. The micro aspect is there too, because they were popping off when it came to the fragging aspect of things. So they're looking great overall. I'm gonna say I would like to see it. But I think we're going to have another team get himself the win here because it's Sanok. It's a bit more unpredictable. It's a bit more wild. So it's anyone's match here.
Yeah, and we also yet to see whether or not Team LP can try and maybe apply a little bit more of that push when it comes onto the side of Sanok. But it's going to be a gold opportunity for all our teams to get their hands on that that sought after winner chicken dinner. As we know, the point situation is becoming quite close. It's becoming quite tough. And now it's going to be up to a little bit of a tiebreaker here between Team LP and Team Rush, we can see on the standings.
Oh yeah, 101 points between those 2 teams. Well, as we said already, it doesn't really matter too much because you still only get $240. So like right now, you want to be in the top 8, and that's it. And currently, when we're looking at the top 8 limit, DX still are there. They haven't left that position. They've been on the breaking point this entire day, DK. In 8th position, 45 points currently. They started off with 40, so only a 5-point day so far on 2 games. Not really the way, but Show Me Brave have closed that gap significantly from an 8-point difference to now a 3-point difference. If it keeps going at this kind of pacing, chances are Show Me Brave will be able to overtake DX AFG. So DX need to stop losing players early and play good.
I mean, it's going to be a lot of pressure, especially all the way down to Imperial's family. I mean, 7 points. That could be enough for even Imperial's family to catch up to DX AFG. So this is going to be, I think, a very sweaty start for DX. They're going to have to play quite defensively. And I think once they come through the big majority of the hurdles, this is where I want to see them now turn that defensive into a more aggressive play and potentially try their hand at a bit of that winner chicken dinner.
Oh, though you see the circle. Southern Western Island. Could be great for Chomi, could be great for Rush, could be big for Big Baby, Epsilon Axe, or also for Kazama. So you might want to think early of how the hell you're going to rotate. Botations also could be a good option. There's a lot of water over to the west. Though, Rush and a Chomi Brave are not going to take that fight. Let's not forget, last time this happened, Rush lost a player really early on. I think it was Choom. So you want to avoid that from happening once more. But this split is weird. This drop is weird. I'm surprised it has not been fixed yet. Look, Choom died again, actually. I just realized. There's 2 Sanoks in a row.
Yeah.
He just can't play that map. I don't know what's going on. He just doesn't like the jungle.
Must be. Maybe it's the grass tickling their feet or something that, doesn't quite sit well with them. Who knows? There could be so many different factors. But, I mean, it's quite surprising to see, actually, because Rush, they have an interesting position surrounding the side of Ashomi here.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like these fights again, DK. I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I don't see the use of it. I don't know why you want to commit to so many good compounds. You could have dropped in Camp Alpha or even Southern Camp Alpha. You could have dropped in so many good spots. Even Nakam. Nakam is free, and it's not even that far away. Tan Bang is also decent. But no, they really want to commit to it. Oh, he had one opportunity poker there with the UMP. Doesn't quite get the knock, but there's no first aids on the side of Ha. So he's going to be locked with that about 20 HP. So one more bullet or 2, and he is going to be knocked. That nade could be the nail in the coffin.
Ooh, now it's going to be that play, though. Beautiful nade getting sent out. Now it's Boca having to retreat a little bit, right? The table still continued to turn on through, but both Rush and the side of Achomi not having as many meds as they would have wanted to come through into this engagement. Up comes Skullboy, could be finding themselves a beautiful strafe position here, but it is going to be Raike G, though, flanking up from the back end.
Oh, show me you can't afford to lose this fight. You were 3 points away from making it to top 8. This would be such an unfortunate way to miss out on the grand finals. Raikage with a backstab, and that's going to be it for Chomi as they lose every single one of their players one by one by one by one. and get themselves a singular point for this match. Now they're just going to hope that DX doesn't get a good game, because if DX get himself a chicken dinner, he GK, top 8 might just already be locked in.
Yeah, it might just be out of reach. Speaking about out of reach, Ghosty also almost getting taken out of reach as the knock comes through. And now it's going to be LP, God's Ultimate, as well as the side here of the Imperials family finding themselves in a bit of a triangle of doom as they are going to try and settle this position. I mean, I won't call this a necessary hot drop coming through here, but somehow these three teams just decided to converge down onto each other and no one really having any kind of advantage.
Yeah, it's no... Again, I hate these early game fights. You've got 3 teams here! Imperial's family, Team Alpi, and God's Ultimate. And Team Alpi, if they cannot get involved, I think that's going to be their game plan. Moxito's going to go for the res on his teammate, hopefully. Here with the DBS, trying to get 2. They're going to trampush at the same time. Nicely done, actually, to overwhelm Kovu. And that's going to be their first point of the game. While Team Alpi were able to get the res during this fight. And I still think here, DK, the best game plan is to get the hell out of here.
Yeah, get the heck out of Dodge, get yourself situated. I mean, especially looking at the zone, we've got Bootcamp open, we've got the western side of Quarry open, even Pine Nun is available for the taking, so it's not like there's a shortage of positions for these teams to rotate in towards, but yeah, the best play, I would say, also is going to be that disengage, right? Just get away.
The best play is to not make a play. That's how I would approach it. Bego got himself the first aid. We are, though, you can't quite see on the map right now, there is a wide rotation coming out from DX. They're going for the wide rotate from Hutton. They got the boat up there, and they're currently entering the western coast of Sanhok. So they got to be a bit careful. Tambang is overtaken by Rush, so there can be a little bit of coastal gatekeeping. But other than that, I think that this is going to be a pretty free, quick, snappy rotation from DX, which is, weirdly enough, a faster rotation than Gladiators that I could talk for ages about, but it is.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they the boat goats.
The boat goats. I actually like
Yeah.
that. It's actually we need a goat skin. We have the duck skin. We need a goat skin for the boat.
Yeah, yeah. But the duck one I call the blubber duck.
The I didn't. You didn't have to
Because
say
it
that.
floats.
You ruined it. It was my favorite skin until this very last 5 seconds, and now it's gone.
You're welcome. It happens, right? It happens.
I hate you. Nah, but it is a cool
Oh,
skin. I'll give
yeah.
them that. You can only do a botation in that skin, otherwise it's illegal.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to
Yeah.
use the boats. I think that we agree that that is the rule of thumbs.
100%. 100%. And speaking about rule of thumbs, though, avoid trying to not fall to the rule of thumb as they are trying to get themselves positioned, but a very risky play, even moving into the firing line alongside Epsilon Axe. Will we see Tornado kick up a storm, picks up 1, almost picks up 2. Oh, Zesty gets dusted down. And now it is down to the final contender, DeVito, trying to see if they can also mainly successfully rotate up.
Danny DeVito, he's going to go out blasting. Oh, guess not. Okay, he just got picked up. And avoid, again with these weird macro calls, you know there's going to be some gatekeeping on that bridge side. Full sending it that way, not the best. You could dip out in the blue a bit. You could go north of Pineland. You could go to the boot camp trifecta of the river. Full sending it with minimal information, DK. It's not going to work out. And again, this could have been a really good game for them. But they decide to go for the easy call, and it does just not going to pay off the way they were expecting. Though, Phase 2 did pop, and it just gets rid of the other smaller islands on the map. The eastern and northern islands are gone, so just going to focus on the southern western island as Avoid once more get eliminated. And I think, DK, we can now say it, that is the end of this PMCO adventure. Unless an insane game 4 happens, they will not be advancing into the grand finals.
Yeah, I think you're 100% accurate on that one. I mean, it is quite unfortunate, but it's not exactly something that we can avoid. And, well, maybe things turn up. Maybe things turn up a little bit here now for Firestorm and Kazama.
Could be. Klaus trying to bring a gift here in the form of a nade. Interesting packaging, but it's a bit early for Christmas.
Yeah.
But he's not going to quite connect. Though, I keep saying it, these buildings, you get one molly, Firestorm are wrecked. Like, one really good molly on one of those, like, right windows, which I think is what... Oh, no, he's got nades. Oh, my God. You got to stock up on mollies. They are too damn broken on Sanhok. But They got nades instead, which are good, don't get me wrong, but Molly spread on wooden floors, so this building a firestorm could be turned into a fire hazard in a matter of seconds if they had it.
Ooh, this could be quite the play, though. I mean, I think at least Firestorm here, they should be quite relieved as they've got mollies to let loose and find its way over onto the side of Kazama. I think this is quite fitting, right? It fits in with their name. But now, I think the big threat could be posed by Teddy's position, right? That could be the present that Klaus has brought through for them.
Yeah, it really is a strong position, as you said, DK. As long as he holds it and no one is here to third party this fight and stop that off angle from being taken, I think that he's currently got a position that would slow down any kind of breach or escape from Firestorm, so they've just got to be very careful. But he's got no more utility, so he can't do much. He's just going to have to be really accurate on those sprays and have some strong reaction time when the engagement happens. Imperial's family down to 1 after that Eastern fight near Lakawi. He is going to be also on the move, does find a compound, but it's not quite in circles, so he's not going to be safe just yet.
Yeah, but they are going to have to play quite a bit of hide and seek at this point in time. However, wow, who's not going to be playing hide and seek is going to be the side here of God's Ultimate and Ulpi, but an interesting position also then being held there by Epsilon Axe just on the edge. So curious to see who's going to be the one to follow through on this spray down, maybe get their hands on a few additional eliminations, but Chengo just going to be chilling. Leon also just chilling as the guard takes a bit of a rest. I think it's one of those solar vehicles where you got to charge it upside down.
It's a strat, you know. It's called the wheels in the sky strat. You know,
yeah,
it's just how you go about it. I mean, I've seen players actually do it non-ironically, and it actually worked out. No one's looking at their car. They're like, "Oh, it's a crash car." No one would expect someone to be in there, and then bam, you're dead because he's got DBS. So I love this big baby split. Again, just like that first game on Orangle, DK, they know these positions are so good. They are not scared to control as much terrain as possible. They try and regroup later on, but it seemed like Kazama's going to be knocking on their door, and it's going to be Firestorm. They get 1, 2, and 3, looking for the last one. Actually, wait. Oh, the last one is gone. It's Teddy. He's not even close. He's trying to get involved, but it's a little bit too late. Nice engage from Firestorm. And they are going to get himself an easy 4v3 fight, and Teddy is not even given a fighting chance. He just gets completely torn to pieces. And Firestorm win a fight and pick up 4 easy limbs.
Ooh, but we see Rush also now just lurking on the edge. They could also add to the chaos, the carnage. But we can say exactly the same thing about Big Baby. I like that scout coming through there from Baban right now, sensing that there's a little bit of danger and instead trying to get themselves relocated. Meanwhile, as we jump back over on towards that eastern front, it is going to be Vengeance. Oh, getting done dirty as Epsilon Axe now comes in swinging.
How did you say Vengeance? Say it again.
Vengeance.
Oh! It was such a guttural noise. I'm like, what the hell? It's like DK became a Viking for a second. What's going on? But yeah, Blue is going to be a bit stranded, fair to say. I don't think there's going to be a lot of hope for his situation. 1 nade connects. Just 1 more bullet. He's got the S12K just to be completely overkill. Oh no, get the first aid, okay. Gonna be a bit closer. Bap! Such a mess right through the smoke with the S12K. A pretty deadly weapon at that. You got to be careful when dealing with it. And Vengeance losing a player. You know they're going to have to fight Epsilon Axe. Again, I don't know if there's like a rivalry between these two teams, it seems, but it happened last game, the game before that. They just keep on engaging one another. But with only now 3 players, Epsilon Axe, if they want to, could third party this fight fully and clear all of the southern eastern side of the map.
Speaking about the southern side of the map, though, I'm noticing an interesting rotation coming through from Rush, heading all the way down to DX for some or other odd reason. I don't quite understand why, though, but, well, we'll find out soon enough. As, you know, then, of course, with regards to Vengeance here and Epsilon, I think it's like birds of a feather flock together. They just can't resist bumping into each other along the way. I think Blue is going to run out of time and potentially even run out of HP bar.
Look, to touch on Rush's rotation you just mentioned, if you can't explain what Rush are doing, you can just explain it this way. Oh, they're probably looking for eliminations. There you go. That's done. That's your job as an analyst done on that match. They're just looking for limbs. Onto DX, they heard a bit of noise and looking for it. But next circle, and I love it. Look, Big Baby had... Okay, Blue, what a nade. Really good nade. Unfortunately, he's not going to go the entire way. Marin, that res should be coming through pretty swiftly. But going from a 4-man split into now a 2-2 split for Big Baby. And you know, DK, we just know that if the circle goes on one of those two compounds and there's one that's stronger than the other, they are going to regroup. And in this exact situation, they could regroup north of that location or even play south as a 4-man and defend against DX and Rush. There are so many game-making opportunities opened up for Big Baby. I think that if they do not get at least a podium finish, that would be a massive throw, seeing what a great undertaking they've done this entire early to mid-game stage.
Yeah, and of course, if you can see at the top of the screen, they are so close to trying to close the gap there. I mean, sitting on 87 points, that does put us with about, an 18-point deficit between third and, pole position. So, Big Baby, they could definitely pull this one out of the bag. All they got to do is just maintain a very aggressive play, locking in those eliminations, and of course, capitalizing on their current positioning. It does seem like Big Baby are maybe going to focus their efforts a little bit more towards the southern front as opposed to center. And that could help, maybe, find a play over onto DX and Vengeance if they start to rotate in right from this line.
Though, DK, this is a very important fight that's going to be breaking out. DX versus Vengeance, if it does happen, don't forget, Chomi Bray did die early this match, which means that DX can just lengthen their lead in 8th position, and if they do so successfully, might just secure themselves a spot into the grand finals right after this game. They get the first and second knock, and they're just going to have an instant squad wipe. 3 players instantly taken down in the matter of 5 seconds. Those are super important points for DX, but their rotation after this, as they're still not in circle, is going to be rough to execute.
Yeah, but a beautiful, beautiful play coming there from DX. And of course, we can see they've now made it up into 8th place. 49 points to their name, but they are not going to be stopping anytime soon. Epsilon Axe could now try and play quite the essential position. Not exactly a gatekeep, but still an opportunity to absolutely decimate the side here of DX.
Amazing spray down here. I mean, DX know that leaving this position is going to be tough. Just get one player in the circle and that will be a win. Just one player, Sayar gets out of dodge, gets himself safe. The 2 other players though, Morris and Kama, I am not sure if they're going to have the same lucky fate to happen to them. Because I don't think they have cars right now. They're going to have to do that rotation by foot. Epsilon Axe, their position is also going to be in the blue very, very soon. But they still want to make sure they eliminate DX. That's going to make their transition into the compound over to the east so much easier to boot.
Not only that, but also their contention for the top 8. Because as we saw, they are just sitting outside the top 8, trailing by 3 points. So this is going to be one of the most important plays that we need to see come through on their end. Big Baby now going to be looking to play the upset as they do spot out Morris. Kama also yet to try and find a successful push, but things are looking pretty grim as Sayar is now the only player for DX situated in zone.
If you're Big Baby this match, the Eastern team's not an issue for you. The Northern team's not really a major issue. You need to eliminate Rush and Firestorm over to the West. If you do so, Big Baby, they're going to have themselves a pretty nice game to play out from. So, got to look at that one though. Poker, what? This guy and Nate, I don't know what it is, DK, but he just has an insane love story with that bit of utility. He tries to get himself into a safe spot. The spray doesn't connect, and he does make it further into the game, but for how long, I'm not too sure.
But
Not long.
Yeah.
Not long at all.
Yeah. Yeah, they were put on watch as Rolex came through with that uprooting play there. But what I wanted to say, though, about what Poka did there is that it was a beautiful nade, right? Just alleviating enough of pressure that they could actually hop in the vehicle and attempt their escape.
That's going to be the game plan. Team Alpi, how do you make this fight happen? You're not in the circle. You have to cross a road and breach a compound. I think this is looking like a bit of a horrendous situation to be in. They even popped the wheels. You don't have cars anymore to make that transition. So yeah, there you go. One player goes down. I think that we are looking at the final moments of Team Alpi. This rotation is almost impossible to pull off without those cars.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at the positioning coming through here from T-Pes, they've got that 2-2 split, they've got the angles, and now all they got to do is just wait to see how LP are going to try and push on forward. But T-Pes very determined to bring a stop to these players. Moxito also now gets dropped, and it's down to Sandri to see if they can maybe survive. At least for now, seeing that the blue zone is also going to be applying the pressure, but instead it's going to be T-Pes now rushing straight on forward. Sandri taking so much damage already.
Easy nade. There you go, that should be the confirm. Oh, he does run into the building, actually, and makes it safe for a little bit longer. Caster picked up because we have a sneaky third party happening from Firestorm up northwest. From that high ground position, they're going to put the hurt down, rain it onto the entirety of TPS. And the circle shifts once more, and it goes. And the compound of DX is still in play, DK. The dream is still alive for DXAFG to remain in top 8 and go right into the grand finals.
Oh, golden opportunity there for them. But now TPS not exactly out of the woods themselves. Still going to try and contest for a bit of a play. Look and see if they can maybe sneak that nade on in. But, I mean, this is going to take quite a commitment coming through here if they want to rush forward. But I think it's a little bit risky. You know, tempting fate out in the blue. That nade could be the ceiling play, though, and it is.
Yep.
As Burke secures the hit, and that is Sandrick and the rest of Team LP out in 6th place.
No, Big Baby, you're hearing that fight happen with Epsilon versus Sayar very soon. I want to see a third party from that, because right now, playing that Ridge, you're going to make it very easy for Epsilon to pick up those limbs. So, Big Baby, I don't think taking this fight is the smartest play. Sure, great, you get Firestorm. You're giving TPS a lot of breathing room to get into the circle. Big Baby, you're not dictating this game anymore. You're not in the circle. You're going to have to go downhill. You need to eliminate all these players off TPS if you want to have a chance. And I think that rotation is not going to happen, DK. They were too focused on the West, and they could have breached onto Epsilon. And I think their chances of a chicken dinner are dwindling down to 0.
Yeah, and it is sad to see that TPS is just turning Big Baby's position against them. But I mean, in order for them to avoid that, ooh, they are putting themselves in a very vulnerable position, opening up the plays here for Epsilon Axe as well. But Caster and the rest of TPS, they know that it's just going to take a few mere moments, and that is exactly what they do as they lock in. Big Baby getting shipped out of here. 6 eliminations up, though.
Yeah, 7 eliminations here for TPS, so really good match from them, able to clear Team Alpi and Big Baby. Big Baby, I still think that crash onto Epsilon's compound would have been the optimal play to hope for that win, but now these rocks are going to be really strong, and they got central circle here, DK, especially, which, unless there's a really bad circle that comes up, I think TPS have this one in the bag, because Epsilon are going to be so predictable on how they're going to exit, and Caster has an amazing off angle with those rocks. I think that it's fair to say here, DK, on Sanhok, these rocks here are so big. They're so broken to play behind. You're just super safe. So Epsilon, unless they have some of the sickest nades, I think this is a TPS chicken dinner through and through.
It could be. I mean, definitely looking at how they are currently situated right here. But, you know, it's all going to boil down to whether or not Epsilon can follow through on the performances that we've seen in their previous Sanox. I mean, TPS surprisingly not having as a successful run when it comes to that consistent pacing. Actually, I'm wrong when I say that TPS being the most consistent one out of these two teams currently alive in the zone. So, yeah, this could definitely lean in favor here of TPS. And the zone now being the deciding factor is going to force the hand here of Epsilon, right? They have to reposition and relocate, and this puts them right out on the platter for TPS.
Oh, Caster, yeah, just die to blue if you can. Don't give them the elimination. Burke is the one to connect it. Actually onto Epsilon, gets himself that first knock. And now these angles against Lowless, especially against that smoke. He doesn't have any nades anymore on his hand, but it seems like his teammates does. So they're going to be able to keep the hurt raining down. But TPS, oh no, losing player after player. Only one remains. And it's going to be Lazek solo against these 2 players of Epsilon Axe. I'm surprised we don't have more players on this rock. It's so good in this circle. He has to get himself one more knock. He could get it. That's another one. Lazek might keep the dream alive for TPS to get himself the win. 2 more bullets is all he needs. And FPS are maybe going to struggle to get himself the win. Epsilon down to the 1v1. He's got the DBS in hand. You know he could turn on and send it against the F12K. Gets the spray down, and here you have it. It is time for TPS to finally get themselves their second chicken dinner of this PMCO tournament.
Oh, what a play though coming through there from TPS, clutching it out. I mean, Max, that was almost a little bit too close for comfort, as you can see. Epsilon Axe, I mean, making up a really good ground, pushing forward in towards that zone, and TPS almost fumbling, but they managing to hold on. They clutched up, they got themselves the chicken, and what a play though to come through.
Yeah, what a play. I still think that there should have been 2 players of TPS on that rock. I think that only having 1 player is really hurting yourself in the long run. So I think that there was maybe a little bit of a misplay in terms of where you position your players. But Lazek is able to just clutch it out at the end, get himself 11 eliminations with the assistance of his team, 21 points to boot. I mean, this is locking TPS in a top 8 position, 100% DK. And Epsilon Axe, though, we weren't looking at them too much, but at the start of the day, they were 9 points away from a top 8 position. This also getting 15 points, I think, might push them up in top 8. So also a very important match for a lot of these teams. And we're only one match away from the ending of the last chance, DK. So it's going to be down to the wire for a lot of these squads.
Yeah, I mean, for TPS, this was also kind of technically some kind of a back-to-back thing, not exactly, but it was their second chicken dinner on Sanok. So, you know, Sanok definitely working in their favor. I really appreciate all the immense pressure plays that they were able to bring through into this game. Speaking of pressure play, though, showing me they had a little bit of a tough run as we saw into that early game, getting sent off with only one elimination up. But Epsilon Axe, I love this commitment to just focusing on that late game stage.
It's a really smart play. I loved how they were approaching the eastern edge this entire time against DX, against also Vengeance at some point. Not getting too involved in the fight. You can see it here on this replay. They just see the fight happening, but it's no real use to get fully involved. You can just maintain your strong position in the circle at the time, and once DX are in a pretty much unreachable position, you know that they're going to be struggling to make that transition point. So love how they were playing it. We had some great plays through and through, but TPS defending against Team Alpi, making the transition across the road, negating that transition from Big Baby. So many small steps, but at the end culminates in them securing himself that chicken dinner.
I mean, it was unfortunate to see Big Baby's position essentially not panning out the way that they would have hoped, but you just got to give it up here. Epsilon Axe, TPS playing a phenomenal showdown in that final zone to secure the winner chicken dinner. I mean, it was If you missed it, T-Bass came through with yet another winner with a chicken dinner over on Sadok. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful clutch up. And I'm curious to see, though, who's going to be the team to step up to the plate next, because we've seen Alpi and T-Bass essentially dominating the lobby here today. And Max, it is all going to come down to our final game, right? It's all culminating just into this play to see who will be allowed into the top 8 and who will have to look on from just outside of it.
I'm not even focused on the top 3 teams here, DK. I'm focused on that 8th position kind of barrier entry point into the grand finals. And right now, I think I'm really hyped to look at the overall leaderboards, because there must have been a lot of movements from these teams, because we had ourselves some great presence from Epsilon Axe this previous match, getting themselves a 2nd place. Firestorm, a few eliminations here and there. So it's going to be a close one. And looking at it, Alpi are currently still in the lead, but Epsilon Axe are going to serve as our new contender entry point team for the grand finals. They are currently the team to beat if you want to get to the next stage.
They've risen up all the way from starting in 10th position earlier today, so a phenomenal climb coming through on their end. Vengeance also going to be feeling a little bit of that heat, just nipping at their heels. But I think the important part for us to look at here is, of course, who is situated over on towards the 2nd page. You can see not a big difference then coming through here for DXAFG.
Yeah, really not a big difference. It's going to be down to the wire for these guys. Even Firestorm, even a Chomi Brave can catch up. You start to get to Imperial's family, it's going to be a bit rough, but as you said, Avoid doesn't really seem feasible. Unless we see like a 20 elimination chicken dinner, then maybe. Outside of that, it's just, I don't really have high hopes for that to happen. But yeah, down to the wire, a lot of team contending for a spot in the top 8. And it's down to this last match. Back to the grassy pastures, it's time for a wrangle.
Ooh, indeed, indeed. And of course, we are going to be starting all the way up in Stolba here. It does seem like we are pretty much committed to that Everest position. Beautiful line, as it's you know, it's just so great to see a bit of that northern potential coming through here. But the team's now going to be put through the ringer on this one, right? I think the zone, if it's complementary to this phase, I think a lot of teams are going to be feeling a little bit more relieved. But we've seen that zone sometimes shift all the way down to the far southern edge.
Yeah, we could have a hard shift. I mean, we had one go to Lebovka, the previous Durango, so I don't even know what to expect. As I said on yesterday's show, GK, we had the European Championship, had wacky circles, so anything can happen. That's the cool thing about Battle Royales and PUBG Mobile in particular. Anything can happen in these matches. Though, some teams going for their early drop. Nothing out of the ordinary just yet. But I think that they're all just waiting for that circle pop and see what the unfolding of this match is going to look like. And if you're one of the teams competing for top 8 spot, you're just hoping you're going to get a good circle, because having to play your very best on a circle that's not quite favorable to your drop and rotation path, not the most obvious thing to go with.
Well, a little bit of deja vu.
Okay. No, it's not fun. I just... Well, see, I mean, so, you know what? We had the exact same game. Can't do the same mistakes twice, but DX here taking a fight. They cannot afford to lose this here, DK. They need to come out with a win against Team Kazama.
It's going to be a pretty tough one, as we know. Kazama, very aggressive team. Ooh, nice straight, though, on towards Bat. One down, a few more to go. But this is where we need to see DX now, well, bring in their numbers, because having only Nickmal here, this is not the way to push forward.
Yeah, because if they die now, it's done. Their dreams of making it to the grand finals of this year's PMCO are done and dusted. Are the teammates going to come and help him out? I guess not. I think that... I mean, I can't argue with it, DK. I think it's a smart play. You have a solo player against a full squad. It's risky to go assist him, right? So, unfortunately, DX, like, okay, we're going to take it on the chin. We're going to lose this player. We need to go for at least a podium finish if we want to make it to the grand finals. So, it sucks, but it's how it goes sometimes. It's how it goes.
Yes, sir. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Speaking of which, though, it's not often that we see a bit of contention coming through into Pachinki, right?
Oh, yeah.
Teams, you know, much more respective of the different spaces, taking, you know, other approaches to get themselves situated. But instead, it is going to be Avoid and T-Bass now stepping up to the plate, looking to see who will be able to reign supreme. But T-Bass already sitting on a century, as where Avoid now could have a bit of an opportunity to just go out here and have a bit of fun.
I don't hate it. I think it's actually a good play from Avoid, because so many times you see teams that are competing for a spot in these big international events. Like now we're going to be playing, well, not international event, but they are competing for a spot pretty much into the grand finals. And we said it for Avoid. They're going to need a massive game. They're going to need 15 to 20 chicken dinners, 20, not chicken dinners, 15 to 20 eliminations on top of a possible chicken dinner if they want to have just the slightest chance of reaching the grand finals. So then, from the get-go, hot dropping a team, these are the hot drops, DK, that I do not hate. They make sense. They bring a little bit more of an interesting narrative for the ending of this last chance stage. So I like it. I think that Avoid, if they come out successfully from this, might be on a good path to snatch away a top 8 position.
Yeah, and I mean, I think at the end of the day, if it doesn't necessarily go their way, they can still say, you know what, we tried to play the upside, we tried to come through with a big angle. And I think the important thing is here is for Avoid not to feel too much pressure. Sure, it would be great if they were able to get themselves those 20 eliminations plus, but I think the important part here is to have fun, seeing that this is the last match for the last stage and the last chance.
I don't know if they're going to have fun. I think there's going to be a lot of stress here. when you have to qualify in the last game, that's always a situation you do not wish to be in. But unfortunately for them, they don't really have a choice in this situation. Though looking at teams rotating, Vengeance, I always love how they rotate overall, got himself a nice central 2-2 split, which is going to be normally highly successful if these next circles are not as bad as we had on that first game of the day, which I still can't believe that happened, DK. Hard shift after hard shift into Lipovka. I think Big Baby already going into Lipovka, like, okay, we don't want the same horrible situation that we had earlier. Let's just gun there early and just hope for the exact same circles. But I don't quite think that's a great strat. But who knows? Might be lucky.
I mean, as we know in true PUBG fashion, the zone could of course now decide to move to the west, as opposed to, you know, committing even more to that eastern side. But who knows? Maybe there could be a bit of a strategy coming through for Big Baby, preemptively awaiting the zone to pull into that region. I gotta say, Vengeance though also coming through with a beautiful 2-2 split. I think it's a good utilization of the space they find themselves in, not all gonna be constricting into just the one singular building. But I think over towards the western side is also where we could see a little bit of an upset now to come through, as we have quite a few teams that are yet to rotate up. And I think for a team, for instance, like Firestorm, if they decide to set up a bit of a gatekeep, there could be a bit of a surprise to be had.
Could be. It could be a good option for them to go for a gatekeep. I'm not sure, though. They're making their way right through Kazama's split. And Kazama just weren't really interested in taking an early game fight, which I can appreciate is just not worth taking fights early on in these matches. I'm seeing otherwise rotations. God's Ultimate still getting a little bit of extra loot. Seems like they have an M16. Rogo just loves the M16 at this point, so I can't. I always thought he was underlooted. DK I was like, oh, he hasn't had time to loot. He's in trouble. But no, I guess he just likes the M16, which fair enough. It does act as a mini version of an SLR. So not an SLR, a DMR, should I say?
Yeah.
So yeah, you could go for it if you really like it that much. Hell yeah, you be my guest. You go for it.
As long as you remember to put it on single fire, because
Yes, of course.
in burst mode, yeah.
I mean, there is that attachment to make it like fully auto, but it's just, yeah.
You know, there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee that you're gonna find that. So
Exactly.
yeah, it's a bit of a gamble. Speaking of a bit of a gamble, Xiaomi also now gambling with their HP bars here, as they still have quite a bit of ground to cover. Just trying to ride out that blue storm. But I think for them, maybe rotating further up on towards that northern side could be a good strategy, moving on to the short edge of the zone. And also, there's nobody in that northern area, so that could be a good position for them while we await our coming few phases.
I think we have realized these last few days, DK, that the North is not very popular with these teams. Not too many teams drop up there, and by having 13 teams, that is going to be a knockoff effect, right? You are going to have a lot more space, and sometimes it just happens that here, the northern side of the map, pretty damn open every single iteration of this map. So, yeah, easy for Achomi Brave that, as we said already, DK, entering into this game, need a strong match. They drop Northern George Pole. They could easily enter, wrap around Yasnaya Polyana, and get one of these strong compounds in the northern edge of the circle. And by the time they get in there, Phase 2 is going to pop, so they can already start thinking of what the next move is going to be.
I'm also very curious as to what Crodex is doing here. I mean, very isolated from the rest of the team, now just narrowly avoiding the sprays coming through here from TPS as they are circling like vultures just towards that southern side. It doesn't seem like they were opting for a bit of a bait and switch. In the meanwhile, we will have Void and God's Ultimate finding themselves in a bit of a situation out on towards that western side of the zone.
Always looking for a fight, it seems, but Avoid, got to be a little bit careful. Can't really allow themselves to go for a clash. right now when they're not in the circle. You want to take one where you have the advantage point. Circle shifts. Oh my, okay, OP dip. OP dip, if you guys are familiar with these type of circles, OP dip to the more northern west side of Shelter or straight up north of Farm. Going to be a really strong position for teams to play for. It's really hard to push teams out of that location later on in the game. So I think that that's where God's Ultimate are currently going for, unless they're going for the little high ground spot surrounded by roads. There's a lot of really good positions to go for here, DK. You just got to be one of the first to get there so you can actually use it to its full potential.
Yeah, it almost looks like we've got a few veins, you know, from what the roads are forming in that position there. So I'm curious to find out if that is in fact where God's Ultimate are going to be looking to settle. But it seemed like they are pulling over onto the edge. Ooh, up into the junkyard, hoping for a bit of a play. But now they're going to have to contest against T-Pes as well as Vengeance, also just lurking in the area.
For us, a lot of wild dashes. T-Pes are going for Heaven, I believe, right now, which in this position, in this kind of circle, Heaven would be really good. Not sure if the circle is going to head there multiple times in a row, but if it does, that could be a position that could reward you with at least a podium position and a lot of information too, which you also gotta keep in mind. That information game is really, really important for these guys to play through. But yeah, as of right now, it's just a rotation. There's not really much to add on this current unfolding of the match, because teams are just trying to get somewhere. For now, that's just the approach. But otherwise, there's not really much to break down. Though Shelter fight between a Void and Firestorm. I don't know if this means they're going to try and take a fight, because Firestorm going so deep underground. Are they finishing their looting stage, or are they looking to have a sneaky engage onto a Void? Not too sure, but it seems like there's a game plan in mind.
Yeah, but it does seem like the game plan might have been disrupted as, ooh, we have a bit of a bolt-off coming through here. God's Ultimate, they send one through over into a Void now coming through with a response back onto their end. So I like this back and forth trade. Ultra also then holding nice and steady here with the car 98. We did see a bit of an opportunity potentially presenting itself down towards that southern side. But Epsilon Axe not going to be looking to get involved in this fight anytime soon. But now it's up to Avoid Firestorm to see who is going to be, well, locked in onto Shelter, while God's Ultimate are just going to be sitting here scanning the vicinity.
Yeah, that's going to be their game plan. It seems just it's all about information, because you got these strong POIs that are just surrounded by a lot of open terrain. Scouting is going to be a very important aspect of this match. Vengeance, I love it. They went already for the museum position, which is really strong. Also because it's just surrounded by, there's just nothing around it really, DK. So if you want to breach it, you are going to be in a bit of hurt for that rotation to work out and come out of it completely unscathed. It's a northern shift, which means Heaven for T-Pes is going to be so damn strong. So T-Pes, hopefully not going to get breached too easily, because as you said, teams can just fly into it literally off that edge. So T-Pes got to be also a little bit careful that teams don't get too fast to that location.
I think I've seen one game where there was like a 2-second hang time for, you know, a team rushing up into Heaven, hitting the cliff perfectly, and they just float. They just go. I mean, it was amazing to see. But I think especially now looking at T-Pes' position up into Heaven, Rush could maybe pose a little bit of a threat to that angle if they so decide. But it seems like Rush, they've instead gone for a little bit of Alamo and the Bulls over here.
Yeah, Rush Alamo play not too bad, though I am a little bit surprised that Kage finds himself in that position in the first place. That split doesn't need to happen. Sure, these dips are good, but as a solo, not quite. You are going to have a lot of teams that are going to try and aim for that spot, which right now tends to be Team Albi. But at least, you know, cool thing about Rush, DK, is that at least the teammates are trying to help him out. Try and get that boy out of a bad spot. And by doing so, you do get some assistance, but Kage does get taken down by that nade. I would say that is a res you don't want to go for, but it's still going because it's Rush. I forgot it's Rush, DK. I forgot it's Rush that literally do not know the emotion of fear.
No, that's not something that is even in their vocabulary. But now it is going to be up to Bego and the teammates here to try and defend the honor. I mean, Sandrick also just trying to bring through a little bit of bombardment, but to Rush, they are just enjoying the balls, just skating from the one side to the other. And I think LP making a good call, rather choosing to disengage and just get the heck out of there.
Yeah, seeing also in the picture-in-picture that we have a fight happening with a Chomi, which are up to 3 eliminations right now, DK. This is a perfect start. This is exactly what this team needed if they want to reach the grand finals of 2023 PMCO EU. Though, still not quite sure where the circle's going to go. It's still up in the air as to who's going to have a chance to go for that win. But Vengeance, we did see earlier, just lost everyone. Down to only Bozanak right now. So this game is not going to be quite working the way they wanted. Though they got so many good points earlier, I think their spot in top 8 is secured, but multiple teams could do a massive jump up. So they need to be careful. He just needs to survive Bozanak for as long as he possibly can.
Yep, the pressure is going to be on indeed there. Vengeance, best of luck. Having a solo, not going to be easy. But speaking about easy, we are going to really get to see where this next zone is going to be taking us back, though. Ooh. It's going to get dropped on down.
Oh.
Kazama down to only Teddy all the way up in those northern reaches. And if the zone is going to be pulling down south, Kazama not going to find themselves in a very happy situation. We did see also Avoid starting to, well, they completely disengaged rather from that sheltered position. But still, Heaven is going to be in play, and T-Pez still going to be holding on to some prime real estate.
Team Alpi going for the previous Void position. And here for Firestorm, but it seems like they're not interested. Good for them that Firestorm have some players inside shelter. They can just cruise through unless Frank loses his wheel. But no, he does make it out. The Dacia is going to be remaining nice and healthy. Healthy, okay, not healthy anymore. It's going to be a little bit of smoke. I don't think that's normal for your car. I wouldn't know because I don't drive, but I do have a driver's license, so that's cool. But yeah, do you have a car?
Yes.
What is it? What is it? Tell me. It's a Ferrari? Is it a Bugatti? What color is your Bugatti?
I wish. It's one of two. It's either a Polo or a Fortuner. Toyota Fortuner or a Volkswagen Polo. One of the two, depending on what I feel like for the day.
You know, you could have lied and said you had a Bugatti, and you do so much PUBG Mobile Esport. I would have been like, oh, he does. He has it. There's a real
Well, it's
Bugatti.
that and the Superbike, so you know, there's many options.
Though unfortunately, options are going to be dwindling for Big Baby as they lose. Now too, Dennis is going to be picked away with that scary DBS noise. You don't want to deal with that, that's for sure. Also in the distance, they see the two of the remnants of Big Baby. It's a decent ridge to play with. But as a two-man, it's not going to be as strong as you would like. And actually playing with, I think that was the Car 98. That was pretty sure the Car 98 noise. I was looking at my map feed for a second. I was just like, what? What was that? I know that noise. But good for them to send Shah 666 over to that ridge. He can just keep the entirety of Big Baby in check. I just think a solo is maybe not enough.
Yeah, you maybe need a little bit more of the cavalry to pull through. But let's see whether or not can get the play in here. Yep, the rest of the squad is there. Now it is going to be Baban and Arau feeling quite a bit of the heat. The pressure of the plays is Baban and all the entirety of Big Baby gets dropped on down.
That was non-easy rollover for Citizen 2. He was just so pinpoint accurate with that rollover in the buggy. So really good stuff, clearing a lot of space again at Show Me. And we said it, this is their game. They need to do so good if they want to qualify into the grand finals. This is the last minute dash. They are keeping the dream alive. Achomi, love it. Keep it up, lads. This is your perfect game that you need to pull off if you want to make it up to the next sphere of PUBG Mobile Esports. Team Albi, after their fight, making it through shelter, looking to maybe have a future engagement against Rush, but Poker's off angle has been lost. The anchor point being lost for Rush. This is going to be tough for them to cross that road. I don't know if they can survive much longer, DK. Rush might be down in the bins.
They might definitely be down in those bins, and well, they're just gonna have to try and hold true as best they can, but it's gonna be a very, very tough one indeed. Oh, but here we go now. It's gonna be Rush still looking to find a viable position to pull in towards Metsara getting dropped, and this now applies even more to the play as Raike G comes through trying to find a bit of that suppression. We still have Shum up. We haven't seen much happening with Shum here today.
Shum's been just a little bit silent, not able to do as much. Matan has been a real MVP for Rush. But Ray Kage also just trying to assist his team. About Matana, despite being knocked already got 3 eliminations, really the MVP of the day for Rush. But Team Alpi, that transition across the road is just so impossible to pull off. Without cars, it's mission impossible pretty much. Sandrick, thrown down, might get himself the first aid, might get the res, but you know that Rush don't want to give him the time of day, DK. They want to go for that flush. They want to eliminate the entire team. They are looking to get those 6 pesky eliminations.
Yeah, well, they want to go for the gold rush. So let's see whether or not they are going to be able to bank on that. There's now going to be Sandrick sending out a bit of utility. Well, there we go. Shoom goes boom once again as the utility connects and up. That is LP out with only 2 eliminations to their name.
Yeah, Shoom goes boom, and that's going to be it for them. They get himself all of that fight done. Nicely done for Rush. But now God's Ultimate, hearing that fight, take the opportunity to leapfrog their position, though not safely. Epsilon Axe also a team that needs to keep the pressure on if they want to secure their spot. Currently serving as the 8th place team, DK. Cannot have a bad match. They need to maintain this kind of momentum heading into the final match of the day and final match of the last chance. It's going to be really complicated to execute because this is such an open finish that you're going to have to hope for good circles and keep those cars alive, which we can see here for God's Light. For God's Light, that's a India team. For God's Ultimate, this car is not in working condition, so I don't know if they're going to be able to go the entire way for this match.
They can always try and push it if that doesn't exactly go their way. Meanwhile, we do say goodbye to Avoid as they've been taken on down. We've left now with only 8 teams. And this is a beautiful bit of a setup coming through here from Imperial's family. I mean, a nice bit of a gatekeep onto the side here of DX. But as we've established before, this is DX's opportunity to see whether or not they can climb those points, get themselves up into the top 8. But Imperial's definitely going to be looking to end the play here as the DX, they need 5 points. Currently, they do not have a single elimination to their name.
Wow, really good nades here coming out from Matana. Again, he's just keeping him in check. Matana! Absolute MVP of the day, I have to tell you that much. Keeping the dreams of Rush to remain in first place alive. With those eliminations alone, it might just be the case. But it seemed like he might be out of nades, so he's got to run out of that range of blues, because he'll have nades and mollies. He only has 2 smokes indeed, so get back in that car. It is smoking. You want to be careful. What a nade. But blocked by that tree. Jesus, it's way too close between those 2 guys.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the timing of these plays are just so amazing to see. But now, Rush still have quite a bit of a play to make here. Here's to see if anything's going to happen to Blue, though. I mean, Blue's got to hope that the Blue doesn't get hold of them. But Rike AG might beat the Blue to the bunch. As they're just waiting for that smoke to dissipate. There's a bit of an opportunity. Mentana again with the approach. Are they going to regroup back to the rest of the team? Or are they going to see a bit of a rush now coming forward?
So many teams here that can get themselves the win. This circle is going to be very, very important. If it's going to be a hard shift or central split. Oh, it goes down southwest. Rolex still in the circle. Firestorm also a team that needs to hold on to a spot into top 8 here, DK. They need to get himself a good win. Or at least just have Rolex survive for as long as he possibly can. But he's been spotted. The dream might just end right here, right now. As he's spotted out by Rush Team. The smoke keeps him alive for just a little bit longer. But the moment it dissipates, DK, we might have to say goodbye to Firestorm this entire PMCO season.
It's going to be a tough one, but let's see whether or not Rolex can survive the inevitable. Meanwhile, it's going to be a Chomi now down in the trenches trying to find their approach forward and towards the zone. And they're going to be knocking on the door of Rush. So Shroom already pepped and ready to roll. M4 DBS in hand. This could be exactly the kind of response we need to see come through from there, but it doesn't in fact seem like it. Chomi are going to be opting for a little bit more of that northern play as they do spot out Morris. This could be DX in trouble, and indeed it is, as DX gets taken out in 8th place and only now accompanied by placement points.
Such a stressful match for these guys. Chomi, 8 eliminations, maybe getting close to Rush here. Might want to regroup because Rush is a team. Do you need your full squad to take the fight? Gary boy. Oh, way too scary of a little angle. Just get back behind that ridge. But Rush from their fight versus Alpi, you know they still have nades. They still have a lot of utility remaining in their arsenal. So what's the game plan? Because you can't give that high ground position over to Rush for free here, DK. You want to take that fight. But Chomi, what's going to be your game plan?
If Chomi are going to be looking to stand some kind of a fighting chance here, they're going to have to try and contest at best they can. T-Best, though, going to be trying to push through from the northern side. They've got quite a few teams also now just laying up ahead of them. Imperial's family, as we can see, also just showing that edge positioning. But Epsilon Axe going to try and defend the top 8. The opportunity is there. A little bit of a reach comes through, but Gaster, though, with a beautiful sneaky approach. That nade could be absolutely devastating. Fortunately, though, for Epsilon, he doesn't find the position, but of course, a quick reload. Ooh, Costa has not actually seen Furia.
Castor has a Lynx AMR too, so if he actually clears this team, he could actually play some really strong, long-range kind of deal. He could play some really big deals in this match, but he's just aim prone with the UMP Lynx AMR loadout. Tier 3 helmet, Tier 3 vest, undamaged right now. So he could also take a little bit of a beating if he takes that fight. But it doesn't seem like Epsilon Axe are aware of his position. He could just ruin it for them. They're not aware of the off angle, gets the spray, and gets the knock. I was scared he was not going to get it. He gets the reload, but now his position has been shown. You need to smoke yourself up. Gets it done. And now because he's got that smoke, he can maybe play the Lynx AMR, but he has no chance. Gohan from Epsilon just mows him down like it's nothing. The mission to get the res is there, but can they get there in time on Furia? It seems like that will not be the case, and he's going to be confirmed. That's T-Pest losing himself to player 2.
Oh, unfortunate turn of events coming through here for T-Pest, but Epsilon definitely going to be looking to go with the up and up, as they've now been able to get themselves all the way up into 7s. Now the pressure turns to the teams trying to close up into the top 8. As we know, DX not here, but Achobi now being presented with a golden opportunity. If they can clutch up, this could be their ticket into that top 8. Citizen now quickly looking to regroup back into a little bit more of a secure position. But you can see Carry Boy getting spotted. Down they go. Chenko looking to play the upset.
Oh no, Achomi. This is looking rough right here. At least Rush is not able to play that hilltop anymore, but they are just surrounded by nothing. It's just open terrain, a few sneaky little dips here and there, but really, when you have so many teams looking your way, Achomi's going to have a real struggle bus to go with. They can get the res onto Carry Boy, I think. Spending a lot of resources. And look at that! Has 666 gets a sneaky headshot. Great execution. But now you've got to start to rush into the circle. You need to take more control, more space, because the other teams are also fighting for a spot in this next circle phase.
Oh, you can see Achomi definitely trying to ride this ridge as best they can. But I think it's still going to be quite a big threat being posed here by Rush's position. You got YKG as well as Shroom now just creeping up alongside them. The nades now getting delivered on in, and this is T-Pest looking to capitalize on the carnage already getting just brought into the side of the Imperials family.
Almost out of bullets though, so they're not going to be able to fight for much longer. They need to eliminate a team and loot up if they want to have a living chance to go for this win. Well, Imperials family lose 1, maybe 2, but the spray continues, but doesn't hit the last bullet onto Senko. He makes it to a tree at least. A thicker tree would be nice. Just a little bit more extra coverage. While Senko did go for the first aid, he did pull it off. But do they have nades? I don't think T-Pest have any kind of utility. They would have used it already otherwise. So there's still that lingering threat of Imperial's family that's going to be there until the smoke dissipates. He might get that one shot to eliminate that foe.
Oh, but now it is going to be Shroom starting with a bit of play all the way across the zone. Trying to prevent any potential plays then from the side of Epsilon. Oh, Imperials though, out they go 7th with 4 eliminations up. YKG also now just signing off on their behalf. But up comes T-Pest. Oh, Lawless getting dropped on down. It's up to Burke. And this could be that turning point. Achomi already up to 10 eliminations, slowly trying to creep their way on through. But they're going to have to make it up into at least a podium finish if they are looking to contest the top 8.
10 eliminations is already massive, but as you said, DK, you want to have just a bit more in terms of placement points. Top 5 is already going to make it a lot easier for you, but a podium should lock in that slot into the grand finals. Epsilon also currently trying to make sure they can push themselves and remain in top 8. Currently saving as that break-off team. If they can just outlive Achomi, there's a living chance they could also make it. It's down to the YGK. I think it might be down to tiebreakers too. Don't forget those chicken dinners are tiebreakers. The first stat to look at. So this win could also be extremely important for whoever is able to lift up that trophy in the end.
Well, talk about a pressure play. This is exactly what we are witnessing right here.
But
Shroom
Rolex is still
looking onto
alive!
Rolex. Yeah,
He's still
not doing
alive! What?
anything with that information just yet.
It's so important because they could also qualify to get a good game. So if he stays alive longer, who knows? Maybe we're looking at an insane comeback on the last game from a solo of Firestorm.
Well, they're going to have to add a few eliminations to that tally, and with that, we do say goodbye to Metana. Shroom goes so now, going up in a proof of smoke, as they will get ended. It is going to be 8 eliminations, though, awarded to the side of Rush. Firestorm getting snuffed out, and we are left with our final 3. Achomi now in the position here, looking to see if Citizen can hold on long enough, but they are still going to be facing a big major concern, not only here from Berg, but as well as Epsilon Axe.
Got another flashbang available if he really wants to give it a shot, but no, the car is fuming. You can't use it for too long. Epsilon Axe are going to absolutely obliterate you. So you got to jump out. There you go. You got to play that ridge, but he's solo. There's not much he can really do here, DK. It's going to be an Epsilon win through and through. Tornado's nade is there to seal the deal. And only one playoff TPS remains, and he's just going to try and stay in the shadows with that DBS. I don't think there's much he can do. You get spotted, and that's it. Epsilon Axe to wrap up the last chance of this PMCO for the European region. Get themselves this chicken dinner.
Well, as we said, Achomi, they needed to get themselves into a podium finish to stand a fighting chance of contesting the top 8 slot. So there's a lot to be determined coming through onto these overall standings. But you got to commend the efforts that we've seen here. I mean, Epsilon playing such a phenomenal game, having 3 players remaining, walking away with those double-digit eliminations as well. That is exactly the kind of finish that you want to bring in here. I mean, they came close, right? 15 points on board. It is right on the money, and TPS, though, 21 points a game.
Yeah, Epsilon Axe, what an insane day. They started off the day in 10th position, outside of that contested top 8 position, and they've had such a great day, and especially with this match in particular, 6 placement points for that second place, 9 eliminations to boot. That should also help them to jump up the rankings pretty damn significantly, but I don't know how I was going to go. Oh, wait, Epsilon Axe? No, that's Akomi. If I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. Apparently, there's a little bit of a... We're going to have to go back and check it out in just a bit. So, there's a little bit of a mix-up there. So, normally, this one should be connected. There you go. It was a Komi Brave. In my head, that made more sense. But yeah, Komi Brave is up there with those 11 eliminations, 16 points. So, they are the ones that normally, with this kind of performance, should push them up in the top 8.
Yeah, as we know, Achomi sitting with quite a bit of a gap to try and fill. And let's hope that those eliminations are going to be able to deliver enough of an impact to carry them straight on forward, moving into those overall standings. But what a play, though. Unfortunately, DX, they were on the verge of defending that top 8, trying to see if they can clutch up and maybe hold on, but only 1 point coming their way. This is not going to go the way they would have hoped.
No, that's definitely not going to be enough to maintain that bar entry point into the top 8. We'll see, of course, the other rankings in just a short amount of time, so do stick around for that to know which 8 teams will advance into the grand finals of the 2023 PMCO Europe, which, again, very important for the grand finals because it will be your ticket to glory, your ticket into the next highest sphere of PUBG Mobile esports in the European region, so nothing to be overlooked. It is a big kind of moment for these teams. Though, going over some of the highlights, we had some good moments, but Akomi, it seemed like they just woke up the beast inside them, DK. They were just breaching teams, looking for fights, looking the most confident they've ever been, and I just hope that if it does qualify them for the grand finals, that kind of mentality and momentum keeps going, heading into that next stage.
Yeah, I mean, definitely looking at the kind of pacing that they will bring into this last match, Beast Mode is, I think, a very appropriate way to play, especially in the situation where they needed to just, find that extra bit of a spark to come on through. So show me good play, but you're still going to commend the efforts being brought through from both Rush and TPS all the way to the very end of this game.
And Firestorm too, able to keep himself a solo alive. Is it going to be enough? I'm not too sure, but we'll see. But we're ready to look at the overall rankings to see which top 8 teams will advance into the grand finals of PMCO. And here we have it. Rush team will win the last chance stage, but Vengeance is going to be the cutoff team. Followed up with God's Ultimate, Epsilon Axe, Team Kazama, Big Baby, Team Alpi, TPS, and of course, Rush in that first place. Congratulations to these teams as they advance into the grand finals to compete for a spot in the higher sphere of PUBG Mobile esports.
Gotta say, though, a very, very impressive performance coming through here. I mean, show me they tried, right? They gave it a very, very strong push. Yeah, I mean, ending on 59 points. I don't think it could have been closer than this, right? A valiant, valiant effort being applied here. DX, they tried their best. looking to defend their honor, but it didn't exactly go according to plan there. As you said, Firestorm managing to hold that solo up until the late stages. You know, a strategy that could have had a little bit of a potential different outcome if we saw those eliminations, you know, also then stacking up a little bit more so.
Yeah, and for those teams that unfortunately did not continue into the grand finals, don't give up. There's going to be a lot more opportunities in the future to make it into the semi-pro / pro sphere of PUBG Mobile Esports. So, no, keep on going. You definitely made it really far into the European region after the thousands of teams. So, keep on going, lads.
Yeah, and of course, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Be sure to hit us up on social media. As you can see, all the links displayed on screen. Share your thoughts and tell us, are you as excited as we are to see our teams venturing forward into the grand finals? I think already looking at the pacing that Rush has been able to bring through, I think they are definitely going to be one of those teams to watch moving forward. I mean, they were just so excessively aggressive. But I think that's the kind of momentum, the kind of strategy and approach that you need to bring in out onto these battlefields.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's so many strategies that now are going to have to be changed, maybe tweaked a little bit and improved upon for the grand finals, because we're going to have some heavy hitters heading into that next stage. And I'm going to say it again, we got one team that I think everyone here knows is going to be Nexus Gaming. The boys are participating into the grand finals, so you can't go halfway about it. You got to go the entire way. Just throw everything you have in your arsenal if you want to be having the opportunity to beat them, because don't forget that not only maybe you'll make it to a higher tier tournament, but also there's $6K on the line for that first place, which is significant at this level. So you don't want to give up. You want to give it everything you've got.
Yeah, and as you've said, right, there is an opportunity for that competitive scene now to be just on the edge here. So I think the team's already showing quite a bit of the potential here, right? Some great strats, some great angles. And I think what I appreciated a lot coming through from this last stage is the teams weren't sitting around waiting for the zone to do something or to give them a reason to move, right?
Yeah.
You can see a lot of that decisive action being taken. The teams looking to be as proactive as they possibly can and going out there getting the job done.
Yeah, teams understood that they had to take their destiny in their very own hands and just kind of mold their future. So yeah, it's interesting that we've seen teams evolve and change their overall game plan throughout these last 3 days of play, and I expect it to continue changing even more, DK, into the grand finals, because of course the higher level tier you play, the more competitive it's going to get, the harder it's going to be for you to make a game plan that is successful, so you're going to have to adapt to survive.
Well, as we know, the teams will have to adapt and to survive to make their way through those grand finals. But of course, the grand finals is going to be back in 2 days' time, as we need to give the teams rather a bit of an opportunity to, you know, just reassess everything in preparation to getting right into those grand finals to see who the final few teams will be to move on. But of course, speaking of which, of course, well, it leaves us with not much else to talk about here, right? We've essentially come to the end of the show. Max, anything in particular that you want to see come through as we are just awaiting those grand finals?
I mean, I want to see some improvements from some of the teams that were maybe having to do the final push at the end of the day. I think that's what I'm looking at in particular. If you had a great change of mentality like a Chomi, unfortunately, sure, they don't qualify, but it's a great display of teams that are desperate, starting to go for a play that is highly successful. So I just hope the teams that had some good shining moments towards the end are going to try and learn from that and bring those improved kind of game plans and strategies heading into the grand finals. So I'm really excited for what's to come here, DK.
Well, there's going to be a lot to look forward to indeed, and be sure to join us for the finals. As we said, it's going to be back on Friday, same time, same place, and even more insane PUBG Mobile action. Until then, stay fresh, stay frosty, and we'll see you all later.
stop. Ride us all to the top. We won't fit in your, we won't fit in your, we won't fit in your box, no. We don't quit, we won't stop, no. Ride us all to the top, whoa. We won't fit in your box, no. Thank you, Ben, for coming out tonight. My name is Son of Augustus.